has got all of the qualities that Cozzy Pickett's got. Cozzy absolutely ripped this footy club apart last week, so they don't want to be too defensively minded. They still want to be able to play their game, but I tell you, I love the Adelaide Crows. They came out of the blocks, they scored heavily. They've been the number one hardest team to score against the last 6 weeks, so they've added that to their game. Hillthorpe goes down to the goal square. What a matchup that's going to be. The big Tommy McCartan. Game on here. Beautiful conditions out there too. Absolutely perfect for footy.
Can't wait for it. The Sydney Swans 4-7. The Adelaide Crows 7-4 as they get into it. And it's hard to get an early piece of the footy, as Isaac Kearney found out. Berry, who impressed when he got a full game last week. Straight on to Isaac Kearney, the superstar of the Sydney Swans. Speaking of stars, Dawson found a way to get it out to Rankin. Neil Bourne crashed straight away. The pressure was immense and it was rampant. Flying in hard to fly the flag.
It was the same last week. The pressure around the ball early, the Swans was good. Melbourne were able to match it, but then break out the front of contest on a regular basis.
Bryant and Grundy, couple of willing ruckman. Saligo on the outside. So it's the Crows and Philthorpe is the focus. Only back in defence. Handball across to Melican. Fogarty was tracking it all the way, and Keys for a moment thought he was a chance going Mitchell in his third game. Carries it through.
They've got no angles on this ground. Melican able to come off his man and provide some really good aerial support then. Get an idea of the mindset of Sydney with this kick in now.
Bit of a pained look on the face of Nick Blakey as he takes off. And that is a mighty whack. A couple went down behind the footy. Michaelani spitting through first, hacked forward by Taylor Adams. His third game of the season, good spoiled butts. Row bottom to the voice. McInerney with a forward handball, he's hung it to Warner.
It's good though, Gaz, isn't it? Down the centre, at least they get the ball inside forward 50 a stoppage. Now they had an opportunity, it was just a over-the-top handball that looped a little bit, which allowed Adelaide back in.
Grundy down to Jordan. So it is, looks like it's Jordan on Jordan, doesn't it?
They tried to trick him by Jordan going Isaac Rankin in the stoppage, but Rankin's pushed forward now.
O'Brien the most vigorous with the tap. Row bottom, looking to the outside. Michaelani got the hand in when he needed to.
One there last week.
Dane Ramp is trying to change at the moment. He's got Isaac Rankin, so he's trying, Gaz, to create that shift in matchup.
O'Brien clear run out of the tap to Heaney, stripped of it legally. He was the man doing the tackling, Michaelani, but it's jammed back to the middle rather blindly. And there's now Mitchell. Made his debut in that game against Richmond last year. The shock loss probably wasn't the ideal game to make your debut in. We saw him as the sub in gather round, and 32 touches last week in the VFL to earn his way back in.
Yeah, well, they've got 15 Adelaide Crows to contend with in their forward 50 at the moment. The Swans, as they just probe, go around, maintain possession.
There's Roberts going to go. Brings it out this side to the wing.
Reminds me of us in 2000 against the Bombers, this.
Very early to insert yourself into the commentary, John. I like it.
There's a massive flood going on.
Lloyd Blass. McLean disrupted, yes. Worthy of a free kick.
But it was a key.
Just not required, though, because the amount of numbers that we're going to be able to support the contest in the air didn't need to put that pressure on from behind, create a free kick against and allow Sydney a direct shot in goal 25 metres out.
Yeah, well, they were patient in their build-up, but in the end, when there's not much else on, you might as well go there as long as you can get a genuine contest.
Played every game last year, but has been in and out a little this season, dropped just a couple of weeks ago. He's certainly good for one goal a game at least, and that's a good start. He hopes it's the first of many.
So this is the part of the ground they've got to get right. And as soon as you mentioned it, I mentioned to Dean Cox pre-game, he just nodded his head. So 16th for scores for inside 50, 17th for forward 50 marks. Here's the key free kick here. Just gets an arm down there. And 18th for forward 50 contested possession. So all of the problems, well, they've got problems all over the ground at the moment, but this part of the ground is the part they've got to get right. So they've gone with Laddams, they've gone with McLean, they've gone with Grundy. They've got a result early.
And they've gone smaller inside their forward 50 as well. McLean's the only tall. Hayward goes to the goal square, can play obviously a game in the air as well, quite good overhead, but the rest are small and competitors. Row bottom, Adams, they're guys that are going to try and lock the ball in for the Swans.
Sydney have had the wood over Adelaide. They've won the last 6 occasions, so Matthew Nix hasn't coached a victory against the likes of Warner and Heaney as Saliga goes to work off half-back. Worrell's been something of a revelation in the last couple of years with Keane to reinforce their defence. Dawson with the late pressure, and they do force the turnover, coming with a handball to the inside to Milera, who blasts away to full forward. Will it keep on going? It does, but Mitchell gets back there.
That's twice now for Mitchell. He's had a good start to the game, playing on the wing and coming back to support the defences as well. It's been an impressive start.
3 big tall forwards at the moment, and they didn't have a target to shoot at. Just got to be very aware of their positioning.
Rampy finds Grundy. Just waiting for Warner. Michael Lanning has played on him before as a midfielder. Can match him in most areas, I guess, size-wise.
They're flooding back big time, the Crows.
Rampy again. High ball. That's displaced. He's rolled with a clean up to Keane. Calmly kicks nicely to Rankin. You see the run provided on the outer side of the ground. Actually, with Michael Lanning just beckoning a couple of his teammates to come up. Happy to oblige with Walker. Back in the team tonight. Suddenly from half back there at half forward. Big leap from Berry. Couldn't quite complete it. Keys found himself surrounded and is pretty darn lucky not to be penalised for holding the ball. Berry forward to Rankin for an early one for Isaac. Yes! So it's a battle of the Isaacs tonight. Who's got the better Isaac?
Well, who's got the better eyes for this free kick here that wasn't paid? So let's have a look at it. Keys gets possession here. Arm pinned, no contact made. He had a good case.
Obviously judged that he hasn't had prior and that he attempted to get rid of it.
It's more that he made the attempt. The prior was definitely there. But Isaac Rankin, he was the one who was able to swoop onto this once he found some space. Nice finish.
Well, if he had prior, was holding the ball, John.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Rampy just working out whether he's going to take Rankin or not here. He'll make up his mind and close him down. I like that match-up for Adelaide.
Oh, it's a big match-up.
Rankin gets up high and then works his way back and loses Dane Rampy in traffic.
15th goal for the season. Spent more time in the midfield than ever before this year. Grundy stripped of it. Opportunity now through Isaac Heaney. It's a wobbly number, hard one to mark. Worrell got the fist in underneath Hayward and Butts. Butts gave himself a metre on Hayward, but he's no quitter. Goes after him again.
So they lost contested ball in their defensive 50, in their D50 by 19 last week, the Sydney Swans. So it's one of the areas that they're going to be aware of, and Adelaide will try and exploit with the leg speed.
Nick's, of course, a former Swan himself. 175 games. Adams, top of the goal square. And this, the 2005 premiership being celebrated here tonight. He played 9 games in that season.
He did.
Got injured. It was the end of his career.
Round 11 he finished.
I think he was in the commentary box that day when they won won the flag. And Maruzi with the famous, here it is. On the throw. Heaney wiped up. Kick. Curtin got a handball away. O'Brien, not necessarily ideal. They feed it back to Rowbottom. Quick snap. Far off.
Jimmy, you picked this up early. There's a Go5 premiership team that Brad Johnson's going to get amongst them at half-time.
Oh, look out.
Have a look here and you better pick your mark. Make sure you got one that can still make sense. But this is a much more mobile forward setup that the Sydney Swans are going with right now. And I like it too. More competitive. Try and keep it in there.
Smith back in the team tonight, replacing Laird, who's being managed, the best of mates, so one in and one out. Back to the wing, Grundy again. So the Adelaide Crows defence better get ready. High ball Lloyd, they have the extra number there. Butts in front, snatched by Laddams. Beautifully judged. Heading to the goal square. The threat was live and real. He fumbled it. Hayward trying to bust through.
Exactly.
He was claimed.
So McLean comes off the ground and then Laddams comes on. So you suspect they're going to just have the one tall for the majority.
Yeah, we talked about that off-camera pre-match. Guess how they're going to manage those. So much size, forward and back. Hamlin returning to defence where he's more accustomed tonight.
Grundy might come off for 5 minutes as well, which allows McLean maybe to go in. But you suspect that it looks like they just want to go with that one big 200-centimetre inside forward 50.
Nuts off half-back for the Crows. Thorpe watched the action and contained it pretty well, but the handball straight to Grundy, fed out to McCartan. He looked frozen for a moment because he had no one to handball to. That's Sheldrick to half forward. Hayward quite dramatic in his fly, and the umpire wasn't fooled. He goes in again, Hayward off to Corey Warner. Rankin showing his tackling prowess. Almost earned a free. Sheldrick still with the energy to step to the inside. Interesting kick.
Gonna work out.
It might. Campbell kept his eyes on the footy.
Extraordinary. So his opponent, is it Worrell? I think I might put Worrell maybe. He went where most people thought the ball was going to go, and he just, because he's a left footer, got pushed and it just squirted out to the right. You watch Worrell here take off to where he thinks it's going to go, and he gets just off balance, puts it out to the right here, and it works beautifully.
9 goals, 9 in 11 games. Playing in the front half consistently this year, Braden Campbell. An undoubted talent. He's normally a beautiful flowing kick of the football, but not always accurate as he would have liked. 1 goal, 1 last week. Did lay 7 tackles.
Turning their footy over in their half though, Jono. I reckon the Swans will be pretty pleased with what they've been able to do the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, this start has been strong, and it's exactly the way they needed to respond after last week.
Scores level. Hughes' kick. Knocked and then sliding over the line is Saligo.
And it's really interesting watching this Adelaide Crows forward set up here with Taylor Walker and Riley Thilthorpe just trying to work out whether they've got one. They haven't got anyone within 70 metres of the goal square right now.
Swans this year at home, 2 wins and 3 losses. They beat the Giants and the Blues, 2 of their better performances this year. Bit of crash and bash, and then Peatling and Smith and Saligo. And with his best agility there, he was able to provide it back to Smith. 262-game veteran finds Thilthorpe, casual little hands off to Peatling, who can run and brings it to the inside to Dawson, quickly surrounded and well covered on the bounce. Rochelle, fresh from 5 last week. And he lets it run through the week and into the next.
Well, that's a super finish from Rochelle, but it was the smart kick by Dawson in the end. He just got it forward. He tried to step onto his left. He was tackled and he thought he was going to turn it over at that particular point, but he got it onto him. He got enough on it to get it inside forward 50 to allow Rochelle to go to where he's playing in front, and that's what I like at the end of this from Rochelle. He works back, he identifies the kick first, gets himself in front, sharp turn, well played.
So Rankin's hit the scoreboard now. Rochelle Bice is going to be disappointed. That's not good enough from Riley Bice. That is just not good enough. You've got to close up much more aggressively. They only need an inch, these 2 players, and to be turned around like that will be really disappointing from Dean Cox's point of view. Rankin Rochelle hit the scoreboard early.
His biggest haul since his dramatic debut where he kicked 5. Jordan inserts the Swans. Awkward ball to handle. Adams just scrambled over the boundary line.
3 zips and about, so the Swans will take that. He can move, Adams.
But even that last week that didn't happen. So there's more desperation in wanting to be first to the ball. Even though it's out of play, it still keeps it in the forward half for the Sydney Swans.
Ryan having a rest, and Sid Draper sub again, as is Cleary for the Sydney Swans. Just got turned around a little bit by Grundy. Free kick goes to the bearded Thilthorpe. Off he goes to Rochelle. Someone down the line. Who's it going to be? Juggle from McCartan. Keys flings it out and hopes more than anything. Saligo flat out on the ground. So is McInerney. There's Mitchell and Blakey and Roberts waiting at the back handling. And it's going straight up and down. Good luck with your projects. Underneath it, Melican. Pops out to Dawson. 5 Swans were around him.
That's the other changes as well. Hamling, who's been playing a defensive forward role for the Swans, now going back to his traditional fullback role.
Robotic squeezes a kick out of there. King putting the arms out. He knows the rules. He already had his Leo Barry moment. Didn't he have a showdown?
Outstanding.
Not sure if he's heard of Leo Barry or
Well, he's here. Leo, he was doing the lap before the game.
Yep. And just pops on the tail. Peatling, most unexpectedly crossed the mark. Look at the aggression from McInerney. Jammed it on the boot. They get a little closer.
Played 15 tackles, Adelaide. already, 15 to 8. Their pressure's up.
Adelaide have been in front 70% of the time this year. So
And first quarters.
Yeah.
Own first quarters.
Hillcourt pumping it down. Rankham's already on the move. A fumble from Campbell. Sheldrick just an extra second value to kick away. Keane in the scrap with Laddams and going after it again. Rowbottom kept his feet and a hurdle as well. Slides the kick forward. It just invites everyone to charge after it. First there, Neil Bullen got a shot from Corey Warner. Umpire didn't penalise. Brodie Smith with a territory taker. Phil Thorpe up to take the mark. Not quite, a little breezy. It's a cool night, it's a fine night. And that's Mitchell being hit to the ground. Is this pushing it back?
Yep.
Hard to understand how it wasn't seen.
That's right.
High pressure factor for both teams, as you can see by the numbers. Finally came out McInerney to Mitchell, who showed it, gave it. Sheldrick on the tumble, but too tall for Corey Warner. Next off the line, Hayward got his footing and then beautifully delivered, but it jutted out of Lloyd's hands. We've seen a few drop marks, haven't we, tonight?
It is slippery, but there's no excuse for that. There's a free kicks paid here in the back half. So it's working what Sydney trying to do forward of the ball. Just missed the opportunity, and then Jake Lloyd.
Keane takes a cautious bounce. McLean, Molly O'Brien, Malikan, Hamling, set Blakey up for a fall. Great crash. Malikan again turns the body. Roberts starting to shove in the back.
Well, Ben Keys is working extremely hard, putting forward pressure on. The kick that Hamlin did earlier was as a result of his pressure, and it was another great chase down then.
Flirting with serious danger there. The umpire bails them out. Roberts, who's a nice kick, takes it back to McCartan. Three sort of tallish defenders, don't they, tonight?
Yep.
Aren't going to give them a lot of run and dash back there. But obviously the Crows have powerful marking force, which is the reason why. Peatling at the coalface, Smith.
It's an interesting one, Hutto, isn't it? Taylor Walker doesn't play traditional big power forward, does he? But they have got them. They match up pretty well at the minute.
Takes off. Blasts it forward. Walker waits. The crumbs don't come to the back. They go to Laddams. Almost reluctantly handballs to McCartan. He buys a bit of time, but they're not going to have possession. It's Peatling, who's been industrious as ever. The ex-Giant off the right boot. Just got a little bit out of sync there. His kick was smothered. He'll get a second crack, courtesy of Worrell. Off the left this time. Tries his luck. Dawson was the target. Keys, the hands were so quickly. Bobbles around. Trying to spin through. Curtin.
It's a dour affair at the moment. Pressure up, which is great for both sides. Lots at stake, obviously. And right now, not an enormous amount of risk-taking, Jono. So it just gets stuck down in the contest at the moment.
That's what Matty Nicks wanted anyway in the pre-game speeder. He just wants contest and then try and capitalise on turnover.
Adams crashed into by his teammate. Heaney to Corey Warner. Back through the middle, so it's aggressive line, and they didn't really have the numbers to represent. Keane to Neil Bullen. Such a superb role player, the ex-Demon. Wide to Rochelle. Late change of mind. Through Corey Warner, and then he didn't even have to move, did he? Not a muscle. Darcy Fogarty. That was absolutely superb delivery.
Oh, it's brilliant. That's what separates the game. So the game's stuck in contest and going back and forward and outnumbered. Every time they come out of their back half, they're outnumbered. Sydney, that's okay. They're trying to protect their half as well. Yep. Suspect it's going to be a 70 to 80 kind of game. But then all of a sudden, Josh Rochelle just raises the level individually, and it results in a magnificent passage.
26 goals, 5 for the season for Darcy Fogarty, so he can put it in the book already. His 16th goal from the corridor this year.
And it was the way they were able to shift the ball as well. They go from the corridor, get it across to Neil Bullen. He was first to explode and picked it up first. Then they've got numbers on the outside, and you're right, in the end, it's a beautiful kick by Rochelle. Just the step, control, perfect space. Look how slow Fogarty's going. He's just jogging to the lead because of how good the kick was.
And everyone was going boundary side because he was running boundary.
Yep.
So they were all defending the boundary. The minute he comes in, they're caught offside. So this is about changing angles, and that shot that we just had was magnificent. All of the Sydney defenders push hard to the boundary. That's where he's going. He comes inside. There's this beautiful leading lane, and Fogarty hits up. Shelley's good enough too. It started well with Shelley.
Fogarty missed out last week. Just the one goal, but for the week before against Collingwood, he's having a fantastic season. Holding the ball.
This is a little danger area here. I know it's only 3 goals to 1, but these Adelaide Crows do not give up goals, Hutto. The number 1 defensive team the last 6 weeks.
And the second in the league at converting inside 50s too as well to scores. We know about their firepower. Handling finding out about their tackling pressure. That could almost be beat in the back. Carton guarding the goals. O'Brien to the outside. Fogarty. And a couple of Swans to cut. They looked at each other. Pedler, who returned to the team last week. Warner, just a tiny little kick, doesn't really clear the danger. Smith's always been a beautiful long kick, and long enough, and straight. That is a popular goal for the Crows.
So he comes in for Laird, who's been just such a stalwart to this side, and now he's able to hit the scoreboard. They've got a problem trying to get out of their defensive 50. Jono, this kick, I think it's Warner that kicks the footy out here just blindly. That's not working for them. The outnumber behind the ball isn't working for them.
It's popular, Hutto, because it's off the back of pressure. And it's the pressure in the contest. Kick along the ground, and Brodie Smith set up beautifully. What a finish. "23 tackles to 14 early in the quarter. Now it's starting to show."
Yep. Yeah, and he's had his game already, 230, but this is a 4 goal to 1 game all of a sudden. Didn't feel like it 5 minutes ago, but for the team who's defending so stoically at the moment, Adelaide, this is a worrying sign here for the Swans.
They need to respond quickly. O'Brien is having an excellent season, got the tap down. Got a contract at the end of the year, Riley O'Brien. Warner. The Swans get another opportunity forward. Worrell takes off with maybe a step ahead of Laddams. Down the line, always the most likely.
3 of the 4 goals have come from turnover. The Adelaide Crows, the number 1 turnover team for scores in the competition. So it's got a little Adelaide, like Matthew Litz is sitting there saying, yeah, this is an Adelaide look about it right now.
Ryan fighting hard for front position. He won it and got the tap. Peatling saw a little gap. It became a bigger one. There was a bit of protection there for Keys, but he can't finish the job on the mark. An excellent component of the Adelaide forward line as well. It provides a bit the others don't have. Ben Keys.
Berry on Heaney here. Heaney just the 3 touches. Hadn't been able to get off the chain.
Grundy that time first hands to the ball. McInerney in his 100th. Takes Dawson over the line. And Melican returning from suspension. Discipline's been an issue this year for Dean Cox. He keeps talking about going to the line but not over it. Grundy again just held on to front position. No whistle. O'Brien then takes the 50 metres. Melican juggling. Keys gets away. There's Pedler. Left side. Just keep it in play. McInerney went in. Was there a way out? Bice. Again, it's a quick rush kick from deep in defence. And Crows are lined up ready. Berry. The extra hand. Straight to Keys. On his left. The rolling snap is well handled by McCartan. It had to be.
He called it well, Hutto. Pressured kicks out of their defensive 50, deep in defensive 50s, causing all sorts of problems for the Swans.
5 to go in the opening turn. Rampy, who kicked a goal, a rare goal, last time these two sides met late last year, as the Swans confirmed the minor premiership. Adelaide winning it back regularly tonight, but Michael Annie tosses it up into the night sky. Fogarty in front, courage from Bice. And they've done well to deny on that occasion, but they have to get ready to go again. Sliding ball from Cumming, hard for Peatling. And Swans say insufficient. I reckon they had a case there.
He pay insufficient or out the full? This is Bice going back to the flight. That's better. Darcy Fogarty coming at him. That is much better. Does this come off a boot there? That's what they paid.
They haven't paid it.
Justin McInerney's paid for his skill discipline. Dean Cox has made him play on Isaac Rankin.
Berry. And a scrambling kick. Mitchell first to it. Wait the throw in. Sydney crowd love to provide a few extra sound effects for every throw in. Jab forward by O'Brien off the ground. Fogarty comes to a standstill. Brown again over the top. Nice handoff from McInerney. Roberts got it from Grundy and sends it towards the crowd.
Can't get out.
Yeah, they're being overworked, aren't they?
Can't get out.
Worrell with a setup. And we got a climber. No, the fist at the back. McInerney on red alert to Mitchell. He's kicked it high. He's bought some time for them to compete in the air. Dawson, I think, yes.
He should take his time there. He's got the journey. 3 minutes 50 on the clock. Look at the team that... back on. Adams made contact, pushed him under the ball and didn't get back and make any contact himself. I think that would be the explanation. They're tackling Jono. They're tackling this quarter has been a feature.
28 for the quarter. That's the most they've had this year in a quarter of football, the Adelaide Crows. Away from home, it's huge.
Extraordinary game last week, the ex-Swan. He has 8-13 for the season, which would be a surprise. It's going to be 8-14 now, or is there a free kick?
Yes. Free kick. It's a free kick against Fogarty. They get it from where the ball was kicked.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes. So they're going to now go from deep in defence, which they've struggled with all quarter.
Maybe it was after the ball was kicked, so the ball was in the air.
Yeah, maybe.
Plenty of amateur umpires around, aren't there?
Well, I think you're exactly right. We'll be determined just exactly whether it happened before he kicked it or after. This is the issue for the Swans. They've got to try and get some movement from their defensive 50.
Can they find a way out with the kicking game? Roberts to McCartan. Mitchell gave him an offering down the line.
Adelaide are seriously sprinting on defence. They're not allowing the Swans to get any access at all to the ball.
Tempted the kick nicely. Mitchell and then to Rowbottom.
Ed Warner's in the middle of the ground. He has been for a while.
But Laura saw him coming. That's going to be 50.
That's unlucky.
It is.
A great play, Miller. Absolutely. Warner had been there and was looking to be used, and Miller was the one that ended up saying, "No, I'll cover you." And McInerney just makes like he was almost going.
Well, it's always contentious when they look to play on without going back behind the mark.
Yeah.
What are you meant to do?
Well, he takes a step forward. That's play on,
but he hasn't called play on.
No. A lot of amateur umpires around.
Miller feeling no sense of guilt whatsoever. He just bangs it through for another one for the Crows.
In the end, though, Jono, it's a reward for front half pressure because Sydney have just struggled. They can't get out. They've a number of times kicked it and it's come back in their face. So they go, what else can I do? Rowbottom says, I'll be aggressive. I'll come inside. Miller ahead of the play. Now, does he take a step forward? Maybe not.
Maybe he was behind them.
Maybe it was a half a step back.
But it's a reward for discipline in terms of what they're doing defensively, setting up the ground, but they're doing it with genuine speed in this first quarter.
It's only a couple of weeks ago against Essendon, they gave away 7 50-metre penalties for Sydney Swans.
And he was one of the culprits too, Justin McInerney. I'm not sure you're going to hang him on that one. But this has been a magnificent quarter of footy from Adelaide. Tackle pressures come in, locked it in their forward half until they scored.
Last 10 inside 50s.
Only one away from home once out of 4 attempts so far this year. The Adelaide Crows, Matthew Nix pointing out that they so often play really good teams on the road. Curtin kept it in. Saligo back again from Neil Bullen. Keys just pushed off the ball by Warner. Then he had the problem of going back to get it. Saligo holding for a kick to the Crows.
The concern is they've given up 5 unanswered goals. They're coming off a belting last week as well. So how well can they hang in here?
Swans fans aren't used to seeing this, are they? Neil Bullen tempers the kick. Out comes O'Brien. It never arrives. Goes back in after it again.
That's the Sydney Swans player scoring, the Sydney Swans player who's going to take an uncontested mark right then.
About where they're at, isn't it, at the moment, unfortunately? Grundy helps him out.
They're going extra at the contest. So Mark Keane down the line is a player that's on his own here. And now you watch Adelaide, they'll push up really hard and compress. So they've got one-on-one here now. It's the next kick they've struggled with, the Sydney Swans. It's been really impressive to watch how hard they've worked defensively.
Lloyd keeps it boundary side. It's easy fodder for Keane. He could have marked it really.
That's an example of what we're saying. So Keane's the one who's the fullback or the gatekeeper, if you like. And then they just read where the ball's going. Someone will push up. Keane will then come across and cover. Get the ball out of bounds.
Tough going early for Dean Cox. So long, he was the whipping boy for John Longmire, wasn't he? Now he needs to take it out on others. That might have been high. Just a loose arm from Heaney. Saligo pounds it in again. Oh, I think he could have marked. Could have, would have, should have. Fogarty with a handball towards the line. Keys fires it back, coming with a kick. Top of the goal square, the danger rising. The defenders knock it down. Dawson barging through. Cannot connect. 8 scores to 3. Roberts trusted. Kicks for Grundy and McLean, so a couple of sizable options this time. Can they get it out of defence? Heaney with 20 seconds remaining. Handball's to a big guy, that's never ideal. Long down the line. Out came Michael Lanning, the double fist. Excellent hands from Sheldrick. Kept in by Campbell. A last hope for the quarter, perhaps no. Miller long on the kick again to O'Brien. Grundy realises they have to defend. He handled that well. Saligo, another cut and thrust. Whack forward to Keys. Simon's going to save this one this time. Oh, but difficult opening quarter for the home team. Looking to respond from last week's poor performance at the MCG. But this side they're up against tonight, the Adelaide Crows, they mean business, not just tonight, but this season. It's the Crows by 25 points at quarter time on Super Saturday Live.
Well, there we go, folks. Welcome in, everyone. Of course, Sydney Swans 1-2-8 trail. Adelaide Crows 5-3-33. Of course, Sydney Swans, tell you what, they like to get off to slow starts. They kick the opening goal. That's about it. Adelaide Crows doing the damage. Wow, wowee. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kicking the last 5 goals of the game. Looking pretty good out there. I'll tell you what, Sydney second-tier players, they need to get a lift on. They can't just leave it up to Heaney and co to get their game rolling. These second, third-tier players, they need to lift their game. I'm not sure what Dean Cox is going to do with them. They're like this. It's just it's a pattern that we don't like to see Sydney. We're not used to seeing Sydney do. But Adelaide come out good. Game Board, Shouty, welcome in. M. King, how you going? Adrian Sports Channel, Sheila May. Chia, make a love shout out. Welcome in. Thanks for coming. Sarah, how you going? Welcome in. Pushka. There we go. Someone said Sydney's their favourite team. Pushka, Sydney's your favourite team. Good luck. Look, we hope Sydney come back a little bit. That is for sure. Hey, just before we go any further, I just want to have a look at the ins and outs because I didn't get there prior to the start. For Sydney, Lewis Melican coming in, Justin McInerney, Caleb Mitchell are the ins going out, Sam Wicks, Callum Mills, Oliver Florent, the sub, Caden Cleary. Of course, one milestone player for his game this evening, that's from the Sydney Swans, Justin McInerney, 100 games, well done. Congratulations to Justin on your 100th. hopefully you have a good game. For Adelaide Crows, well, the Tex is back. He's back into the side. Taylor Walker, he's back in with Brodie Smith. Going out, Rory Laird and Zach Taylor. Sid Draper is the sub. And, of course, there are your lineups. For those who just want to pause it there, they can look at the lineups, or if you're watching this on replay, there we go. Let's have a look at the player stats and the goals. Let's quickly have a look at the goals. All single goal scorers out on the game so far. Of course, for Adelaide, you got Brodie Smith, Isaac Ranke, Joshua Shelley, Wayne Miller, and Darcy Fogarty are the goal scorers. Of course, for Sydney, the only goal scorer, Hayden McLean with a single. Let's have a look who's winning the ball. Matt Roberts out there is winning the ball there for Sydney, 8 disposals, 7 kicks, a handball. Nice, well done. Jordan Dawson, best for Adelaide, on 8. Jack Saligo on 7. Let's just roll on down. We'll see a few more. Brodie Smith on 6 there for Adelaide. Brodie Grundy always tries his heart out for Sydney, going all right with 6 touches, 2 kicks, 4 handballs. He's had a mark, a tackle, 2 clearances and 12 hit-outs. I tell you what, he's one of the hardest working ruckman players in the game. Chad Warner, come on, Chad, you got to do something. Not just you, the rest of them, 5 touches, 5 kicks. So he's done well. He's had 4 clearances. Isaac Heaney, 5 touches, 2 and 3. He's had a couple tackles. Isaac Ranke, looking at a big game from him for the Adelaide Crows. He's just had the 4 up until quarter time. 3 kicks, but he has kicked that sausage roll, so he's doing well. He can certainly lighten up the Adelaide Crows. Riley Thilthorpe hasn't troubled the scoreboard as yet. 3 touches, just the 1 kick. Corey Werner, just the 3 touches. A lot of Sydney players down there with limited touches. We need to get some of these players back. We want to see Taylor Adams start to perform, coming back after injury last week. Good to see him back in the side. He's just had the 3 touches so far, but hopefully he can add a little bit more speed and spice to the Sydney team. And, of course, Nick Blakey, the Lizard for Sydney, just the 2 touches for them. All right, let's head back down to the ground, folks. Hey, it's Adelaide by 25 points at quarter time. Can Sydney just come out a little bit quicker, a little bit more fiery in this second term? Otherwise, Adelaide Crows might get away. Sydney always fight back, and that's what we like about Sydney. Adelaide going pretty well, though, so we'll have a look at the ladder at half time, see where both of these teams are sitting. Sydney certainly need to win this game tonight. This could be a season-defining game for Sydney as we're coming into halfway through the season here. Sydney doesn't want to trail by too much going into the second half. Adelaide, they're doing what they need to do, getting the job done in the opening quarter. All right, folks, let's get back down to the ground because we are only 20 seconds away before the bounce of the ball for the second quarter, where it's the Crows by 25.
Pressure. So we see here the Crows, they have numbers, dump kick again, they've got numbers and that spare behind the ball, and they're able to get re-entries, and this is what it's forcing. Uncharacteristic behaviours like Blakey punching it when that's a clear mark there. So it's this pressure and perceived pressure off the back of it that's really hurting the Swans and doing the Crows a world of good.
They're low in confidence. It's funny, they just can't move the footy on the back of that forward half pressure. So the tackles in forward half, John, are being massive for the Adelaide Crows. And the confidence of their Sydney side's gone. Like, you can't find any dare. They once went inside 50, turned the footy over, cost them a goal. Can they generate some sort of buzz and movement? 9 times for defensive mid, they tried to get the ball inside 50 and got cut off 5 of them.
Well, maybe Neil Diamond can fire up the crowd. Quarter time, as is tradition. Sweet Caroline. Something for the crowd to cheer about so far tonight.
Yeah, well, 25 points is not insurmountable, but for a team who's been struggling in their forward half, it's a really big challenge.
All is quiet for the umpire to bounce the ball in the middle into the second term, and both ruckmen preoccupied with each other. No one touched the ball, and the umpire determines that it's O'Brien's free. Kicks on a straight line to goal. Fogarty underneath it. Melican did what he had to do. Heaney comes charging through. Didn't take the footy with him. Lloyd to Blakey. Untimely fall. Neil Pullen tracking it. Heaney deep in defence. It's not really where you want him. Miller, it's great to see him fully fit. He is a dynamo.
Well, you saw that forward half intercept number in the first quarter. It started again.
Deep to Walker and Thilthorpe. To the behind post. we can discuss a little later in the night if things keep going as they are, just how much of a threat the Crows could be this year.
They've got a game in really good order at the moment, Hutto. They've made an adjustment after shooting the lights out early in the season, but they were getting scored against heavily. And they've been so good defensively, just giving up the one goal again in this first quarter to the Swans on their home deck.
Ready for Rankin that time.
And look how aggressive they are in their defence. This is what we saw in the first quarter, John. Ball lived in their half, lived here. The Swans can't exit their D50 here.
Tapped it to the back. Walker. There's 3 Crows. One of them's Saligo. Onto the boot and through the middle. Fine start to the second quarter as well.
You look at the difference in body language. You've got the Crows all around it, and the Swans are just pointing at each other, asking themselves, how does Saligo get to this position in a contest all by himself? Where's our shape? Taylor Walker too strong. He just stands up in the tackle. And there's Saligo all the way out the back. So Mitchell comes in. He tries to do the right thing to stop Walker in his tracks. He's not big enough to be able to do that.
Just falling apart everywhere here. Jono. But I mean, it is. You turn your head and you see the young kids trying to do the right thing. Well, who else is pushing up then to get the Saligo? The next one has to come up and put pressure on.
Look at those clangers, 30-17. 31 points is the main number that matters between these two teams. It is a big gap at the moment. Jordan streaks out of the middle. Give the Swans forward something with even numbers, but Taylor Adams outpointed pretty comfortably by the much taller Worrell. Stylish left-footer that he is. Kicks out to the wing. Barry and Thilthorpe who came late. The fist was from McCartan.
If you've got a small forward line, Hutto, you've got to use the ball better going inside forward 50. At least give them a chance against a tall defence. Out in front, even if it's on the ground, jet bounce in front. That's fine. Don't just bomb it in there, because that's the worst case for these small forwards that traditionally aren't the best overhead when you're talking about a Taylor Adams who was on a great lead.
Again, both ruckmen unable to get to the footy. That time it goes unwhistled. Sheldrick, and they're in again. It's another high ball. Adams fights hard for position. Butts and a couple on the outside. Nice tackle, Hayward. Crowd call for ball. Umpire ignores the masses, lets them keep playing. Everyone's expecting a ball up. Handball away. Michael Lanny gets it to Worrell. Clearing ball. Thilthorpe.
Did he mean that? Yes? Because if he did, he's changed it halfway and it was brilliant.
Let's say he did.
Okay.
Thilthorpe, Curtin turns around, says, was that meant for me? Instead it's the crumbs as he tries to tackle Mulligan carefully.
This is a difference though, isn't it? So ball goes in, Swans can't keep it inside forward 50. Here's the kick that Jono says. You've been generous. But they're out to centre wing and now got some relief. They can get set up behind the footy, Adelaide. They're just in control at the moment.
Both ruckmen got a piece of that one. Rankin, Curtin. Just starting to see him do little skillful things like that. Little manoeuvre to get it onto Dawson. One-on-one. Walker again did all the heavy lifting, but then couldn't complete the mark. Blakey under serious heat from Keys. That's what it's like every time they go to the footy.
And that's why you see Nick Blakey and All Australian double fist the ball in that first quarter, because the pressure comes the minute they get their hands on it.
Keys is doing a great job. Only 2 disposals so far for Blakey.
Trying to whack it away. Holding, and it's Rampy's free.
See, the reason I like Keys on that matchup, he'll make you come back to goal with him, because he'll get on the bike and sprint Ben Keys and try and get goal side of Blakey at various stages. So you have to be mindful of that.
Rampy sets it up. Campbell waits down, but didn't hit the floor because Keane takes the intercept, brings it into Neil Bullen. Now the all-important kick. Handling with the spoil, and the follow-up is Jordan's. Still close to the Adelaide goal, as you can see.
So the other point is that Hamling's there in defence. Tom McCartan's got his hands full as well, and Rampy's got his hands full. That's half of your defensive half. You can't get any run.
Rankin's turn, and he wasn't far away. Keys went into Berry, got back to his feet. It took 3 Swans to slow him.
But the point, Hunter, they're flat out defending, let alone trying to transition the footy.
Right.
And Blakey's got his hands full with Keys, so It's a difficult mix to get some run and carry.
A lot of pointing going on. Jordan goes back to Dawson, but
Well, the pointing's behind the contest because Curtin's all by himself. Dawson was there as well, so they're thinking again, if they can get that feed out the back of the contest, they've got Dawson on his left side.
Bullen sits off as well.
Grundy takes the kick. It's probably not a bad one under the circumstances. And Campbell, in the brilliant disguise, gets
Beautifully
it
done.
bounce.
Braden Campbell.
Was, but Grundy just got enough on that and needed to as well.
Just pulled up a little lame after that. Grundy and O'Brien. High throw in. You're reaching down. Mitchell off to Rampy. Kicks back into the corridors. Probably all he could really do. Hinge takes the mark.
Well, when you go back and look at that kick, you can watch Alex Neil-Bullen chase him down and put the pressure on him, Hunter. That's why he kicks it like that.
Oh, how about that for service? Couldn't ask for more. Riley Thilthorpe charging out, prepared to wear one or two. And he takes the mark.
Hinge was happy too, gave himself the fist pump because of how beautiful that kick was. And it was, and he had to be pinpoint.
Let's hope he kicks the goal, because we can show you in a nutshell how this game's unfolding and why the Sydney Swans have kicked 1 and the Adelaide Crows potentially, if he kicks this, have kicked 7.
What a monster he is, Riley Thilthorpe. The injuries have allowed him to spend so much time in the gym. He's a massive threat up forward. He's gone back and kicked goal number 26 for the season.
So that's the end result. Great lead up, great mark, great goal. I want you to watch Alex Neil-Bullen put pressure on Dane Rampy here. So the ball comes over the back. There's Neil-Bullen, 28. That is enough. That's enough. That's what's been happening all night. Ball gets kicked back into the corridor, comes back in. Riley Thilthorpe lead up. Great kick, great mark, great goal. But it's the pressure that has been the most impressive thing for this Adelaide Crows team.
And off the back of pressure too, Hutto, it's the skill level of the Adelaide Crows. They've had 13 kicks in the quarter, going at 85%, turning it over, but then using it effectively.
Have a look at Riley when he made his debut in round 6, 2021, almost unrecognisable.
That's prepubescent, Hutto.
Out of the middle, Rankin jammed it on the boot. And again they come on the follow, Rankin. It took Heaney to stop him. 7 goals in a row for the Adelaide Crows. Coming with a soft touch that time. Not quite for Taylor Walker.
We're giving them all the credit in the world, which they should get. There's a story unfolding about the Sydney Swans team as well. So they're coming off an embarrassing loss at the SCG, like a belting, and it's 7 goals to 1 on the return bout at their home ground.
And he broke the headlock there with a tap down to McInerney. Tough for Lloyd. Peatling from the corner. Oh, it's got there.
Wow.
It's that sort of night. Everyone was watching as the ball made its path to the goal line. The defenders
the goal line, and it was touched out.
helplessly could do nothing about it.
High ball is touched behind. Touch off the boot before the line. Review underway.
There's Thilthorpe's boot.
Is that a Swans boot? That's a Swans boot.
Roberts.
Oh,
Did then Thilthorpe's boot
He's on
come
top
over
of
the
it.
top with the
Yes.
hole of the boot?
was if it's not over the line when his sole goes onto it. So there, and then this could be a goal.
When's the next
We've
boot
got the
coming?
other angle.
Good old-fashioned black boot that differentiated.
Need the other angle from the post.
Riley definitely had last touch, I think.
Yeah, it's just whether it's over the line or not.
They're all watching the big screen here. It's on the big screen.
If he turns and gives us the angle there, oh no, because then you've got McCartan's arms in the way.
Well, his arm's not there on the left of the screen.
No.
So of course behind. Going to work against him potentially.
I think it's a goal.
Review complete. Looking at these angles, we can see the ball comes off the bottom of the Adelaide attacker's boot before crossing the back of the goal line. This is
All
on the
about
scoreboard.
soul, Jono. What else could go wrong with the Sydney Swans?
Phil thought the umpire actually asked if you check touched off the boot. So that wasn't looked at, and the goal umpire did ask for that as well in the review process. They'll check that now on the way back to centre bounce.
So Peatling as well.
Yeah, Peatling here, they're saying, was Peatling's ball touched?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because
So that
Phil thought was kicked the goal.
kicked the goal anyway. That's a great point, Hutto.
I think John has found his calling, mate. I think he's got goal review.
Professional.
I think so. I think he summed it up beautifully.
Well, 2 in a row to Phil Thorpe. 8 in a row to the Adelaide Crows. 43-point margin. Sydney have kicked a solitary goal, the first goal of the match. It's a bit of a nightmare unfolding here.
Since the 10-minute mark, 80% in their forward half. 10-minute mark of the first quarter.
There's a bit of sit up and take notice of this Adelaide Crows side if you haven't. Unfolding here. This is pressure. This is Collingwood-like pressure that they put on Friday night. They brought the heat.
Grundy grabbed it and then didn't know what to do with it. Snatched away by Peatling, and a great acquisition he's been as well. All those acquisitions in the off-season have all helped. They've all played their part. Curtin was upended. Berry found a way to get ball to boot just in the nick of time. Mitchell popping it next. Miller adjusts his kick on the run. High ball. No one could really jump for it. Bice got the spoil. And now Keys.
What's that Curtin, by the way? I think it's 190 something.
Yep, he is
197 centimetre wingman at the moment.
Yeah. Recruited as an intercept defender. They don't need him there at the moment as he finds his feet.
He's playing the role beautifully, all right. Just sitting off the pack. Menard intercepted times.
McInerney then. Look at that, 19-3, second quarter forward half disposals. Hard to have a disposal when the footy isn't there.
Yeah, well, it's just lit, obviously, in the Adelaide Crows forward half. 8-2 inside 50s in their second quarter.
They've taken one mark for Sydney Swans. They can't control the game at all. Adelaide have just been perfect in their execution.
4 of those are intercept marks as well, John. So they are bereft of ideas right now, the Sydney Swans.
Who thought more than a match for Grundy when that comes to the second ruck? Was that high? And low bottom it was. The acca in there for the Swans.
Yeah, Chad Warner, 6 possessions. Isaac Heaney, 7. I know it's asking a lot of them, but they've got to try and provide a spark here.
They provided a contest. Grundy pretty nimble, below the knees. Warner, as soon as he had it, they had him. Campbell, some quick-fire handball. And now the kick from Rowbottom. Outnumbered Hayward. Going to be very hard for him even to make a contest.
It's just a bomb again. And once again, like Hayward, yeah, compete, but he can't 2v1. So it's just too easy for the Adelaide Crows defenders at the moment. You can't tell me Rowbottom didn't have more time then to execute something a little bit differently with the kick.
At worst, John, kick at the grass.
Yep.
Kick it over their head.
Well, they're frazzled at the moment, aren't they? Quick kick smothered. Hayward does get a run at picking it up, but Keane.
That's the 5th intercept mark for the quarter, Hunter. And a quarter in which they barely had the ball in their half of the ground.
And guard in defence, and then we dart into the back pocket to Worrell. Instructed by his teammates to go down the line. Bill Thorpe, eyes for it all the way. Pretty clean, just can't quite finish it.
So then you look ahead at the footy. If Sydney win this, Mark Keane sitting behind the ball on his own. Rowbottom
Busting through, McInerney again. Again, they find themselves outnumbered. And he's Keane and shove in frustration. Speaking of frustration. Dean Cox employing the John Longmire hand over the mouth technique. You can see some of those traits are passed on. Still very early days in this game. It's a sullen crowd at the moment. They need something. They need a spark. Worrell. Maybe a flash from Corey Warner. They track it all the way, but Miller seemed undisturbed the whole time.
They're not feeling an enormous amount of pressure either, the Adelaide Crows, when they've in possession.
43 points is the margin. Thorpe takes it, mate. Pretty cruisy stuff. Into the middle to Key, so great access to the corridor given the circumstances. Hinge was just passing by. Stubbs the kick to Walker. 65 out. He might have just got ahead of himself there, Tex.
No, poor decision by Tex. That was a good build-up, even by Hinge to just pull the kick because of Sydney's representation inside defensive 50. Tex just needed to hold. Wait for the team to come, and he would have been able to hit up a short.
Texas Hold'em, you think, Jono? Out to the outer side. Heaney takes it to Rowbottom. He's been one of their best so far. Blakey with a forward handball. McLean part of the chain. Again, a disconnected chain.
Well read by Dawson, though. It's their best passage of play right up until the last kick. He had other options, but finally they came through the middle and opened the game up a little bit. But, doing everything well. Adelaide Crows.
7 of those intercept marks down.
Yep.
Dawson, of course, spent plenty of time in defence here at the SCG. 56 games in 5 seasons as a Swan. They knew he was good. I just don't think they knew he was this good. I don't think anyone did. A relatively low draft pick. Popped up by Smith down the line. Dawson almost breaks through. Can't take the mark. McInerney started the chain of hands. McLean down and dirty. Rowbottom. He's got a free kick.
But what can they generate from here, the Swans? The problem is Adelaide, they're so quick in defence at the moment. So they had a couple of players out, the Sydney Swans, but they were rounded up so quickly by the Crows.
Warner to the front, McInerney from the stand start. Now to Corey Warner. Close enough. But not accurate enough. Crowd cheering on something.
I hope that maybe not in the stage where they just haven't got a point. I know things are grim, but
Hope it hasn't got to that stage. It is really hard work right now. Again, Keane sits behind the play here. He's on his own, so they are trying to get one more at around the stoppage, but every time they go in, they're badly outnumbered.
Just 2 marks for the quarter. Saw some of their superstars of yesteryear. As we said, celebrating 2005 tonight. Rowbottom had plenty of grunt around the contest tonight and needed, but they give away a free kick there.
Saw Brucey. He would have worked out what they need to do to change things around.
I think he was preoccupied, really, Jono. Peatling gets his body into the kick to Keane. Takes the mark. Oh, still open for business. Smith. Beautiful. To Walker. Done that a few times over the years. Fogarty got the skids. Shelley. O'Brien. Awkward but effective enough. Roberts was still feeling it from Keys.
He's chased down and tackle again though. Curtin just there, sitting there. Ball stays in there, forward 50.
Talking of amateur umpires, Ben Keys has always been willing with umpiring decisions. He hasn't always had them go his way, particularly goal umpiring decisions, it's fair to say. Against this team, famously, a couple of years ago, arguably cost them a spot in the finals. Laddams with the soccer. Berry with the handoff. Curtin, top of the goal square. Rankin, the ball found him. Keys, Campbell, Rankin ready for the tackle. O'Brien again, a little mini inverted torp. Fisted away by Hamling. Neil Bullen. Almost legs. Keys goes down. Blakey with the soccer. Warner. Not going to be easy from here, so he buys himself some time with the bounce. And then he kicks it up, hoping that McLean or Blakey. The Lizard was flat out.
He was
tonguing it there to Lizard.
But Keane again's just sitting in that hole, so any high ball like that's just manna from heaven for him.
And here's Keys. Right half forward. Just pops it over the top to Fogarty. And Laddams lets out a bit of frustration.
It's good effort by Laddams. Didn't give up on the chase there with Fogarty, so he was able to create the sprawl because they looked dangerous on the turnover. The Adelaide Crows. They had numbers out everywhere, transitioned it well. inside forward 50, just couldn't finish off that last kick.
Ice has eyes on Rankin, who's darting every which way. Instead, it's Keys again to Neil Bullen. Jammed it on the boot. This is Roberts now in the frame. All behaves itself. The young South Australian kicks out to the wing, but again...
Well, the defence of Worrell then, Adams, he couldn't get boundary side to provide the target. So Worrell just was more athletic, and we know Taylor Adams has had a lot of injuries. He's at the opposite end of his career, but this is the defensive half that don't give anything away.
Joints in the air. Jordan with the clearing kick. Very high bounce. Sheldrick took it knowing that he was going to be claimed immediately.
Great tackle.
Yeah.
Great
Campbell,
tackle.
handcuffs went on and there was no key to get him out. Free kick goes to Michael Annie. Usually takes the dangerous smalls. Oh, Hamlin gets slipped over. Whoops, still couldn't quite take the mark. Peatling.
Dangerous.
Popped it into the gap. Nice spoiled McInerney on the run. Michael Annie. Smith already has one goal tonight. Keys is not going to give up here. Roberts, steadfast enough. McCartan. Slews off the boot. Rochelle. Back to the middle. Walker was waiting. Hamlin waiting for him. Rowbottom and Pedler now. Pedler looking for a free and he's going to get it.
That's because of Keys and Rochelle. Keys doesn't give up on the contest in the air. He holds his feet afterwards and able to put pressure on. Rochelle buys in then, of course, because you can see what his teammates doing. Big smother, keep it alive. And now Pedler with an opportunity. Played well last week, Pedler, so second opportunity in a row.
Number 11, Peark. It's been a hard road. He's had multiple injuries. Certainly a hard nut, and he's a beautiful kid. And he's the latest to put through a goal. Adelaide has 9 on the board.
9 unanswered too. This has been a really impressive performance, and we'll give them plenty of credit throughout the course of tonight because they're a serious football club right now. But we've got to start talking about the Sydney Swans and what they can do. They can't let this just play out the way it's playing out because all over the ground they've been bested, and then the pressure in this half has been absolutely superb. What can they do at half-time? He has to make some changes, Dean Cox. They can't keep going into a forward 50 that's outnumbered like this and get no return. And the back half is really slow at the moment. They're getting no run. Bice is one of their best kicks early in this year. He's had one possession for the game. Not getting any run and carry out of him.
And Nix will be pumped because it's an even contribution across the board. They've had 66 disposals so far in this second term. Highest is 6 with Neil Bullen. Every player is contributing on the ground.
Callum Mills there, skipper, of course, part of the coaching tonight because he's out suspended. Berry breaking clear from Dawson to the top of the goal square. Just gets away from Fogarty.
It's a good kick, though. It's to Fogarty's advantage, at least. Gives him a chance against his direct opponent in Hamling. The ball goes out of play still, but how dangerous is this for Adelaide?
Adams doing his best to hit it to the right spot against O'Brien. Decides he could take it and go. Fumbled it down to Mitchell. Peatling bobbling around in there for Keys. Lloyd. Neil Bullen. McInerney in the wrestle. Now Michael Annie. Clever push that time from McInerney, but the handball's just off the mark, making life more difficult for Lloyd than it needed to be. Adams with the fire handball to the inside. Bice. Triangle handball. Quick kick Lloyd. Jordan in no position to mark. Dawson was, but Hayward was able to deny.
17-4, the forward half intercept right now. So he's getting a little on the back of the melon here. Is Peter Adams. That's not nice. A little fresh evening. Now we can come off with some blood, I would imagine. Yeah, well, I'm looking at Blake here. I'm looking at a few of these different players. Maybe throw him forward in the second half. You've got to try something, Jono. You can't be sitting here giving up 9 answered goals and not try something.
23 marks to 2. It's unprecedented, isn't it, in this quarter?
Yeah, they've been absolutely dominated, and they're getting next to nothing from the likes of Taylor Adams. Will Hayward hasn't had a look. Now, I know that they haven't seen much of it. Corey Warner's giving them nothing. Lloyd's giving them nothing.
Warner, Soligo not far away.
But that's the thing, Gary. Dean Cox did try something with a different forward line, but they haven't had a chance because they haven't had ball and good quality ball come their way to at least see how that would go.
15 inside 50, so they haven't had as much supply as they need, but they're out muscled. I mean, Worrell and Mike Laney, they're athletic tools and just treating them with contempt.
Grundy with a bit of nimble footwork to try and bring it back into the contest, but just tapped further Adelaide's way. Blakey, even that was imperfect. Roberts the next to cop it. Dawson releases with a handball to Berry. Close enough to put up another one. There's no stopping the Crows at the SCG.
10 unanswered goals. Doesn't happen all that often. Not when you give the first one up of the night. McLean kicks the first goal, and from Evans been in possession again. Look at this. It's just 4 Sydney Swans players are in at the contest. 1 on the outside. They get it to the outside. There's no pressure. Berry looks around and goes, hey, where's the pressure here? And he just says, oh, I might as well run an extra 5 metres and kick the goal. That's how easy it is for Adelaide to compute what's going on right now, because there ain't no pressure out there. It's unbelievable. When you see this again, the mind going through here for Berry, he's looking around going, how come this is AFL footy? How come I'm not feeling heat when I get this ball inside the forward 50?
It's memories of that smashing the Swans got from Port Adelaide last year. And they're a dominant force.
Well, when there was supposed to be a response, Hunter, this is getting pretty embarrassing.
And it's coming again. Phil Thorpe, take your pick. He goes for Rochelle.
It's a procession. That's what it is. It's just a procession. And when you look, we can look at all of the numbers. The inside 50, 17 to 7 this quarter. Everything else, apart from the marks, which are 25 to 2 for the quarter. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. 25 to 2.
You can see on the screen there, Peter Laddams just going down to the rooms. We assume a concussion test.
Rochelle for a second. Adelaide's 11th on the night, 11th in a row. They have no answers whatsoever.
Well, they're doing it in all different ways as well. Gary, initially it was off turnover in the first quarter. Now we're seeing goals from stoppage. Their last 2 in particular. Centre bounce win here to O'Brien playing in front, Phil Thorpe. So perfect in terms of what they're able to do, and Rochelle just cruises into space.
5 goals from stoppage, 6 goals from turnover. It's a pretty handy profile.
Not bad.
This is getting into the territory of like real damage for the Sydney Swans Footy Club. That's where it's getting into. Adelaide have just treating them like as a reserve side right now, and this can have big long-term ramifications for a side that played off for the premiership last year. They've given 10 unanswered away.
Time for one of their stars to lift. Warner takes it inside 50, but Worrell, every time it has got there, either he or Keane have been able to capture it. Send it back again.
Throw Mike Lanny into that mix as well, Hutto. Their backline's just, they're impervious at the moment. They're not getting challenged either.
On track for their lowest halftime score against the Crows since 1996. Neil Bullen. And Thorpe is deep. Kick was a 3-quarter number aimed at Walker. There was 3 Swans to defend, which means there could be a free. Loose Crows ready for a chance like Isaac coming onto the boot. This is unbelievable.
They can't miss, Hutto.
No.
7 goals straight for the quarter from 18 inside 50s, and they're all just cashing in now, Gary. This has been just a brilliant display by the Adelaide Crows. It's strong and it's powerful and it's disciplined, which I've loved in this first half as well. Look at Keys again. He's the one who sets the tone. Without him, they don't score that.
Yeah. Ben Keys is the man, you're right. Look at this. This is what they've done. The whole game. No room. As soon as he gets the ball, you've got a man on you. And they've now kicked, did you say it's 12 unanswered goals?
Yep.
This is a belting that, well, that Sydney did get opened up by Port Adelaide. I didn't call that. I haven't seen them humiliated like this, the Swans, on their home deck.
This is on their home deck. That's the difference. Rankin with a handoff to Pete Ling, who's toppled over. Umpire lets them fight it out a little longer, and then that's where the Liberties ran out. Free kick goes to Warner, who's doing his best to try and lift them out of the middle.
So how do they go forward? They've got one tall at the moment, inside forward 50.
2 minutes 30 until half-time. Warner straight down the line. McLean was a step short. He came hard off the pack. Campbell. Back to Heaney. He suffered from lack of access to the footy. Adams fires out to Sheldrick. They're cheering their behinds in this quarter of the crowd. They actually are.
They are. That's humiliating, isn't it?
I mean, as a player, that is sitting there listening to your crowd cheer a point.
That's hard to cop. This proud club.
But they are copying it. That's the thing.
Miller down the line. Warner just kicked it as high and as wide as he could.
Team who's been sitting there on his own all day because they've played an extra up the ball and yet they keep kicking it long, high and slow to him.
Smith put 60 on it. Out to Curtin.
He's developing. This is the Adelaide Crow positives, and there's plenty of them tonight. He's demonstrating that he can play on the wing.
We thought it'll load a little while.
There are events and results within the season that resonate for lots of different reasons. This is one of those games right now. On the positives for Adelaide, who have been absolutely outstanding and have rubber-stamped their top 4 standing, but the Sydney Swans are a story here.
Not a happy story. Off the pack, Warner, McLean, Lloyd, Keane, he's going to get it again.
Oh, that's 50.
Probably.
That will be 50. That's frustration from Taylor Adams. He's trying to get a double.
That is his 5th mark off opposition boot. And their 10th for the quarter. Not sure what that'll mean to his fans back home in Ireland about marks off Oppo, but he's going well.
Honestly, it's a positive. It's a huge positive.
Still a minute to kick another one.
It's not getting depth on the kick, unfortunately. Brody Grundy set himself in the perfect spot. O'Brien was well behind it.
They're clapping the marks as well because they're such rarities in this second quarter. They've had a chain of 3 out there. Mitchell. The man from Yarrawonga out to the wing. McInerney is the meat and the Crows sandwich there. And getting a pretty easy luck from big Riley O'Brien.
He's been told by the bench just not long to go. Long down the line.
Kicks it back to his direct opponent.
You have to put it closer to the boundary line.
They might have a little waxing agreement, who knows. Grundy goes for a bit of a gallop and puts the switch on late. Too late. Well, what a quarter and what a half from the Adelaide Crows. They put up 12 goals, but Dean Cox has a massive headache. His Sydney Swans, on a night when they're celebrating past triumphs, have managed a meagre 1 goal. Yes, the Sydney Swans, in a half of football, just 1 goal for, and they trail by 65 points. The Crows 12 goals in a row. The Swans have only kicked 12 goals in a match. The Crows have only kicked 12 goals in a match once in their last 7 attempts here at the SCG, and they have 12 at half-time. It's glorious if you're a Crow. It's miserable if you're a Swan. Let's get down to Ruby amongst the Adelaide Crows.
Ben, 12 unanswered goals in that half. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that to start the game.
No, absolutely, yeah. We wanted to come out and kind of try and silence the crowd and get some energy going early. So, I mean, yeah, got more than we asked for. We just got to hold on now and keep doing it.
How much of it has come down to the pressure? It looks like you guys have really honed on that coming into the game.
That's exactly what we spoke about, especially coming away to a place like this with the crowd. Just have to have our pressure on early, try and get our energy up, and it's paid dividends so far. We're still another half.
Good luck for the rest of the game.
Thanks, Ruby. Appreciate it.
The Crows looking at a massive percentage booster, and they don't want to stop now. So the Swans have so much work to do at half-time. They're getting support from their home crowd. They'll need that. And a whole lot of imagination in the second half here at the SCG. Super Saturday Live continues next.
All right, there we go. It's half time. That's right, half time. The game hasn't just started. If you're looking at the Sydney Swans score, my gosh, wow, Adelaide, a top 4 team. What just happened? Well, Sydney, I tell you what, I don't know whether they've got to rebuild or do something, but their team, I tell you what, their team at the moment is absolutely pathetic. I tell you what, you've got to put Richmond, North Melbourne above Sydney. I tell you what, even West Coast is probably better than Sydney at the moment. Hey, let's have a look at that live ladder for the Adelaide fans. Adelaide are going to jump. Let's have a look at the percentage they actually put on Adelaide. 130%. So far in this game, Adelaide are put on 7%. If they win tonight, which they will do, they'll 8 and 432. Up in the third spot, 137. Sydney Swans, this is season over for them if they lose tonight, which they are going to. It is season over. 16 points, 3 games out and percentage. Their season is done already. There we go. How's that? 7%. Hey, did you hear in that game today, Adrian, the Giants and the Tigers, there were no free kicks in the third quarter given. No free kicks. And I think the Giants had a total of about 4 free kicks. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. Hey, let's go and have a look at the goal scorers because Adelaide have got plenty of them. Let's have a look at Sydney's first because we're not going to have to spend too much time on that. Hayden McLean, there we go. That's Sydney's goal scorers. He's got all of Sydney's goals. He's got 1. Adelaide, though, Rolly, Thilthorpe, Rochelle, 2 each. Saligo, Smith, Ranke, Pedler, Millera, Fogarty, Cumming, Berry, all got singles for Adelaide. Now, they're just sharing the ball around. Say, it's my turn for the next goal. Oh, my gosh. I don't know what Sydney are going to do. Justin McInerney tops the table with 14. Surprising. Sydney has got the top disposal getter with, well, only 14, so nothing much is happening. There's no real ball magnets, as I said, sharing it around. Matt Roberts, 13. Alex Neil Bullen tops Adelaide, 13. Brodie Grundy, tell you what, he's the one player, probably with Isaac Heaney, that puts in each week. They're the only 2 players that put in. The rest they can all put up for trade, I reckon, Sydney. They need to get a little bit of class. At least the league grand final is on. Yeah, I know. Is that on TV? Or is that on KO? I don't think soccer's on KO, so I can't watch that. But that's okay. That's all right. I'll stick to the footy. We'll stick and we'll see Adelaide, if Adelaide can do it by 120. Brodie Grundy, 13, 20 hitouts, 3 clearances. James Peatling, 12. There we go. Let me just run through the stats. Let's get back when the commentators come back and they can give us a bit of analysis. There we go. The grand final, if you follow the soccer over there, Channel 10. If you follow the soccer over there, half-time, Melbourne City leading Melbourne Victory 1-0. A-League grand final. There we go. All right, that is that. Let's have a quick look at the team stats. There we go. 159, 175. 16 plus to Adelaide. Inside 50s, well, Adelaide are restricting Sydney. 19 inside 50s, 5 scoring shots, 1 goal. Oh la la. My gosh, Sydney, what are you doing? 37 inside 50s, 15 scoring shots. That's better from Adelaide. 12 goals, so they're going at about 1 goal every 3 entries, which is good. Free kicks, there we go. More free kicks in this game than today's game in total, 10 to 14. Hit-outs, Adelaide doing that by a couple. Clearances, Sydney, as they normally do, +3, +2 centre, +1 stoppage clearance. Contested possessions, there we go, +4 to Adelaide. Uncontested, I thought that'd be probably more, +14 to Adelaide. Both teams still well under. There we go. High turnover game for Sydney, not so for Adelaide. Adelaide definitely a lot cleaner, 28. That's pretty good up to a half. Not many marks inside 50 for either team, 1 and 3. That's the problem with Sydney so far we've been seeing. They've just been bombing the ball in, not giving their forwards any chance, especially their small forwards. Kick it lower, stick it along the ground, kick it over the back, give the small forwards a chance. And they're kicking it to like 1 to 2, 1 to 3. And Adelaide are just defending too easy. There are the tackle count inside 50 tackles. All right, let's get it back there. Let's get it back down. Channel 10 and Paramount. Oh, okay, yeah, I haven't got Paramount. I got Channel 10. I tell you what, I haven't turned the TV on for months. I haven't turned the TV on for months. There we go. Oh, hey, let's get back down to the commentators for a bit and check out some of their analysis on the opening half.
Inside forward 50, and that's not including those efforts right there that you see that turn that into a turnover. So it's those really pressure efforts that they're just under so much pressure, even when they're not. They're putting doubts in their mind of how much time they have with the footy, and they're getting scoring opportunities from it.
It's been so good, hasn't it? It's been consistent over the first 2 quarters. In particular, the first quarter we talked about the way they were scoring from turnover. But then beyond that, it turned into a stoppage dominance as well for the Adelaide Crows.
Just an update on Peter Adams, just got from the Swans camp. He's good to go after his HIA. So he got that boot to the head and looks a little bit sore, but he's good to go.
We're talking a lot about the Swans here. Make no mistake, this has all been brought about by the unbelievable pressure that the Adelaide Crows have brought and their capacity to finish. So all of a sudden, this pressure comes on. All Australian half-back, double-fisted punch when he should have marked the footy any other day of the week. Off the back of the pack here. Who's pushing up? So the young lad here sitting on Soligo goes, I'll go to the ball. Where's the next one? He may just run off and leave him on his own at the back of the pack, and the stoppage goes on and kicks the goal. Curtin's been sitting off the back of the pack the whole game here. Berry gets the ball at this situation. 5 Swans in at the contest. Berry sitting on the outside. Has a look around and goes, what's happening? Where's the pressure? No pressure. Let me kick one of these 12 unanswered goals. And they're looking at each other going, this is not Sydney. It works if you've got numbers around the ball, but you win first possession. They're not winning first possession. They're waiting for someone else to do the work. Something to celebrate is the 2005 Premiership reunion. I look forward to this. They haven't had much to shout about this Sydney Swans team. After the break, Brad Johnson's going to get in amongst it. 65 points to margin in favour of the Crows.
Cox throws it onto the left. One last roll of the dice for Leo Barriusta! The longest premiership drought in football history is over. For the first time in 72 years, the Swans are champions of the AFL. For the people who've waited 72 years to see South Melbourne / Sydney Swans win the premiership, here it is!
If ever the Swans supporters needed something to smile about, it's right now at half-time, and they're celebrating the 20th year celebration of that 2005 premiership win. They're all here, Brad Johnson. Who have you got?
Well, Gary, I'm going to get right in amongst it. I've got the premiership captain and my old teammate, Barry Hall. Baz, this is pretty special, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome, mate. To get the band back together, per se, it's been really good. But I'm sick of hearing about Leo's mark. That's all he's spoken about, but in fairness, it was a pretty good mark.
It was pretty special, and it must have been special to be the premiership captain of this team.
Oh, look, I'm very blessed to hold the cup up. Not many people get to do that, but I'm also very blessed to be a part of such a great group. We did stuff that we probably shouldn't have been able to do with the talent level we had. So it was a pretty special group, that's for sure.
I'm sure you'll enjoy the next couple of days. I just saw Leo walk past. I'm going to grab him quickly. Leo, congratulations, mate. This is huge to be able to walk around in front of the Sydney faithful, of course. We want to talk about the special mark. I'm sure you've spoken about it a little bit already, but what a moment it was.
Amazing. Like putting New South Wales and the Swans, it was 72 years is a long time. What we were able to do was quite amazing. I reckon there were about 20 blokes in the contest, but it adds an extra year. But it's quite amazing, and it's actually really great to see all the ex-teammates and what we achieved was amazing, and it's great to be part of it. But also the development of football in New South Wales to create that sort of momentum. It's great to see the participation continue. But what a night!
It's absolutely huge. I just see Ruse. I'm going to grab him for 1 second as well. Paul Ruse, welcome to Australia. What would you change in the second half, Ruse?
Well, I just trying to get these blokes. I thought they might have brought their boots.
Get them back out.
Get them back out there. Yeah.
It's always good to see you, Ruse. We've got to throw back to Gaz. It's all happening down here, Gaz.
It's great to see Ruse and the whole bunch. This is an amazing night for these 2005 boys. The senior team, the current team, have got to get moving. 65 points to margin. Massive second half still to come.
Third quarter about to get underway here at the SCG. That's an incredible scoreline if you've just joined us. 450 games the Sydney Swans have played at the SCG, and COVID season aside, this is their lowest halftime score ever. 1 goal 4-10 against Port Adelaide last year on the road. They managed 1 goal 3-9, by the way. And this is what it's done from a damage point of view. The Sydney Swans started the night with a percentage of 93. It's gone down to 87. The Adelaide Crows has now got the best percentage in the competition. It started at 130. It's inflated on the back of 12 goals to 1 to 137.8. So it's already made significant progress, apart from the 4 points that seem certain to come their way.
It's making significant news everywhere. Hutto, make no mistake about that. This is an incredible half of footy. It'll be interesting to see the response.
We won't have to wait any longer for it. O'Brien taps it down. Neil Bullen stunted, good tackle, good start from Roberts.
Chad Warner started at full forward, out of the goal square.
He's got a run at this, and he almost got there, bounced just in front. Butts, Worrell. Everyone waiting on the bounce. Curtin.
Sub-activated too. Riley Bice has got the subs vest on. It's a tactical move, we're told. And Cleary into the game.
O'Brien prevails with a tap down. There is Cleary. Straight to the thick of it. They need a lift from their stars. Heaney's inaccuracy, as we saw here a couple of weeks ago against Carlton, continues.
You wonder what happened at half-time, Anthony. You'd love to be a fly on the wall, I really would, just to see the approach taken by Dean Cox and his men. There's no good rip and paint off the walls. I mean, they've given up 12 goals in a row. They know. Now it's how proud are they?
Miller is for Thilthorpe. It's back in by McCartan. High ball. Warner crowded out again. Keane disorientated for a moment. Miller up against the post, and he knew exactly what was going to happen.
Mind you, the temptation to peel the paint off the wall
I was going to say
would have been reasonably strong. If he hasn't that already, as Adam Simpson says, you might have 5 or 6 that you can go to for the year where you would be forgiven if you had got one off at half time. But the response needs to come.
They need something, and it's got to start with a goal. Heaney had a shot and missed. Warner has a shot, and that's touched on the line.
And then from an Adelaide point of view, they were just brilliant in that first half. Can they maintain that sort of range? That is the question now. It's asking a lot. Their pressure was just off the charts. Can Matthew Nicks get that out of them for another half of footy?
Wilson waited for the right moment. That was off the hinge. To half forward they come. Equal numbers in the contest. Blakey at the back. Had the motor running, revving things up from half back. 2 bounces. Wants a third, takes a third. Kicks to half forward. Campbell at the back. Footy at the back. McLean in the goal square. And again, the Crows guard where it matters most. Butts.
Better though. That's the first time I've seen the ball move like that from one end to the other with that sort of pace and speed. They've got to look at it, able to work his man under the footy was Campbell on the back of some Blakey there and some run. So pride of this group has to have been pricked in this first half.
Keane, all things considered, drives out on the logo line, and McCartan almost takes the mark. Fancy hands from Sheldrick, ramp in, they're coming in again. Cleary fighting hard, it carried him. Butts up against the line, and it's his turn to submit.
So they've started, Jono, in the manner that you would hope. They're getting repeat inside 50s, they're getting some good looks all of a sudden. Now they've just got to complete the play. 4 to zip inside 50.
They need early reward.
Much form up. Short throw in, tap down Grundy. Hard to get out of there for Hinge.
What do you think happened at half time, Jono? Do you think the coach, what's he turned to?
I think he would have had to have had a red-hot go at them. I can't see any other answer to that, Gary.
Jordan back to Warner. It might depend on what he's done previously in the last few weeks too. Warner haphazard kick.
Yeah, but this is... You can rely on certain things the last few weeks. Pressure's been okay and bits and pieces, but that first half was the worst half of footy we've seen from Sydney all season.
Worrell again, free form, kicks back to the wing. Knocked out of Neil Bullen's hand. They really have upped the energy stakes. And win it back at least. Roberts, quick fire kick down the line.
So it's an interesting one, Gary, isn't it, in the change rooms, because you can have a go, but then you've got to still structure something up. So you've got to be honest in your appraisal, and it may be strong, but then you've got to settle back, take a breath, calm approach to what you need from your direct players before they run out to execute.
You have to appeal to their pride. That's what you
spot on.
On a night celebrating the Bloods culture. Grundy to Heaney. Sky ball again. McLean worried about his opponent. Good fly. At the back is Hayward, and that's where it starts. It starts here, and it starts now. And it starts with Will Hayward.
And look at the response here. This is what I'm interested in. Do you kick a goal and you go, oh, thank God, or do you kick a goal and get some genuine support from your teammates? So Hayward kicks a goal, they came from everywhere, Hutto.
And now the crowd are cheering goals, not behind.
Yeah, well, that was embarrassing as well, but this is instructional right here. Have you given up on the game, or are you still got something invested in it? And they're invested on the back of the start to this quarter, 5-zip inside 50. The goal comes, and then you watch and see what's the reaction. And they came from everywhere, Jono. So it's a small, tiny step in rebuilding some of this lost. They lost some credibility as a footy club in that first half, and then now you've got to claw your way back. And that would have been the message that you'd give. Our fans are cheering points like that. That's enough to hit a player and go, wow, we've got to respond to this. And they have. That's a good start. And now you're interested in Adelaide. I think Adelaide now become really interesting.
Came from their leading goal kicker, Will Hayward. Out of the middle, Grundy the tap. Further for the ball. Rochelle getting some opportunities in the midfield. He might get more. All Crows running into each other. Won't mind that too much. Cumming gets it away to half forward. Gambling right where he should be against Walker.
Only, when I say they're interesting, only in as much as human nature says we don't see many games with 24 goals to 2. That just doesn't happen, right? Even though there have been dominant teams over the journey. So where's their minds at now? What do they hope to get out of this second half is what is interesting.
Again, they're so preoccupied with each other. No cry for Cumming on that occasion. And working Walker over in the goal square with a little push and shove. Off the ground goes O'Brien. Heaney. Again, wrapped him up. Awkward for handling. Rochelle.
Is ever going to die one. No. Josh Rochelle. And you have a licence when you're mercurial like that. You have that licence.
Has 2 already tonight. 5 last week, as we mentioned. Carlton. McInerney.
He took 9 marks, Hutto, in that second quarter in total. So you think they're going to try and control the football a little bit more here?
They'll have 9 in a jiffy, won't they? Yep. Playing like this.
Let's try and draw Adelaide up a little bit.
Malikan. Broken ball to Sheldrick. Claimed a regular spot over the last month or so. Long down the line. Hayward flies with intent. Matched by Worrell. Heaney was part of it, so was Lloyd and Saligo.
I enjoy watching Worrell play. I enjoy watching Michael Annie play. Curtin's getting there as well. These are rangy sixers in the old and just athletic. Play tall, can play small. Got a really good back half going out.
Not sure there was a ruck hand to that either. Gee, Malikan breaks through. I haven't said that too many times over the years. So everyone has the licence to show a bit and give a bit.
I suspect that would be the message too, Hutto. Doesn't matter whether you're a dour back pocket or a dour full back. You've got to help get this side out of where they're at.
Grundy tried to swipe it. Adams. Sheldrick. Cleary. Sheldrick. Miller up. Sock it away, and that'll be insufficient. No chance for Isaac Heaney. He's so good at running around on the left, but this might be just a little bridge too far for that.
13 contested possessions to 5 this quarter for Sydney. So all the little boxes that you'd expect or hope that would be ticked on the back of that first half debacle have been ticked early.
Straightened things up a bit last week with 3 goals. 13-10 for the season. Doesn't take the shot. Grundy. Miller. Touched as you heard. Keys flashing through. It was decisive, wasn't it? To coming and then across to Thilthorpe. Good enough, agile enough to take a bounce. Time to go inside.
Extraordinary kick.
Wasn't it?
Good. Extraordinary kick. Had nothing up the line. Had to square it in amongst 3 Sydney players.
Rankin's time has expired. Drives it to Thilthorpe. At the back, Rochelle, but it didn't arrive because McCartney. Now Jordan. Swans still with the only goal of the third quarter. And Brian eyes for it all the way. Was in prime position. Smith. Grundy. Didn't really have a friendly face to get the handball off to. So the ball up. Reminder Sydney have won the last 6 games against the Adelaide Crows. That looks like changing tonight. Swans having a crack though at the start of the third. Saliga maybe popped one high over the please, and suddenly the opposite please were made. Well, if it's not too high, how about holding the ball? Instead, the umpire goes for somewhere in the middle. McInerney forward again for the Swans. Not particularly easy. The fist from Worrell was well guided down the pedal, back through the traffic to a big tackle from Hayward. Socket forward when the umpire didn't call the whistle. He should be able to slip this around the corner and slip it through. There's 2 back for the Swans. Now there is something to cheer about.
It's just getting it forward in any way they possibly can. The Sydney Swans, and good tackle, pressure's a lot better, and it's a kick off the ground, but it works because finally they've even numbers up, Gary. That was keen, but cleaning that up.
Look, along the ground, Heaney v Butts.
That's it. Where do you want the ball? Spot on. So it works. Just put it into grass. So they look like they've changed jumpers. That's what's happening. And if you just wanted in here, you'd go, it's absolutely killing them. So they're 8-2 clearances. Their contested ball numbers through the roof. The inside 50s are 8-2. It's just a completely different mindset that they've come out with. And how much of that is Adelaide just taking their foot off slightly, I don't know. But they've started this in the manner that you would hope they would for a proud footy club.
It'll be irritating for Matthew Nix, but a massive lead. Swans, though, a little bit of momentum. Spirit for the first time in the game. Neil Bullen sinks the slipper. Crows go forward in front. Taylor Walker.
That was excellent from Tex. He paused on his lead, put the big arm back, stopped handling, and then went forward again to take the mark. He controlled the space of where the ball was going to drop brilliantly. Used all his experience.
18 goals, 11 in his 10 games, subbed off twice, missed last week, so he's being managed. He'll have to play every home and away game from here to make it to 300 by the end of the season, which is his desire. And his pure kicking has always been the hallmark of his grand success. Bunnings build up to that Adelaide goal, the first of the third quarter.
So do you say he's got to play every home and away game from here?
To make 300 by the end of the home and away season. So they play a final.
They will play at least one.
Yes, I think they'll probably give him another rest.
He'll get one more spell, you would think. Touch wood that he can stay sound. This is what he's been doing for a long, long time. Beautiful finisher. And he'd be excited about what this side's producing right now.
He was the only player playing tonight from that 2017 grand final. And 300 games is amazing. I mean, his career was pretty much deemed over around that COVID time when he was really struggling and the Crows were in the rebuild. But he got himself super fit and he's been incredible since then, really. He had the serious knee injury way back when. Laddams back to Rowbottom. Little give to Taylor Adams. Back into the middle. Now they can go forward. Rampy to Sheldrick. Warner climbing. No Bullen. Michaelini. Quick glance out to this near side. Kicks to a one-on-one contest. Curtin knew the right time to spoil. Swans had the scouts. Oh, Mitchell, not an ideal time to lose your footing.
We had the skates on in the end.
So they've got a fair workload, Isaac Heaney and Chad Warner. They're playing basically centre, changing full forward.
Curtin. Saligo, his turn to not have much traction. I'm not sure what that was. It's gone now. Anyway, Corey Warner goes to centre half forward. Bold on the line. Gave Lloyd an opportunity. Now Cleary back to Hayward. Already has one for the turn. Did the right thing. Saw what was ahead. He saw the big frame of Hayden McLean.
They're working better the contest, though. They're getting to that next possession to outnumber in this quarter. So that one was Hayward, who was involved in the contest, changes his direction with his run because it just goes past him. Instead of just flowing forward and letting his teammate do it, he comes back to support. So therefore he gets the handball received and he's able to hit up McLean.
Well, he was the lone goal kicker in the first half. Yes, they kicked just one in the first half. You wouldn't recognise that now. Quickly they moved to 4. Maybe it was the side of those premiership heroes at half-time.
Well, it's as funny as it sounds, it would have to give you a spike. This is what I like. It's coming by a ground ball. So win the ball at ground. Those footies early in the piece are being kicked high into the half-forward line, getting out-marked and being rebounded. Now the ball is coming in a bit dirty. That's fine. Win the ball at ground and then find your target ahead of the ball. And when you set up that way as a forward line, mentioned it right off the top. Straight away, one tall forward, 5 smalls and mediums. Yet they played as if they had 5 talls in the first half. Now they're going dirty, ground ball, and it's working.
15-9, ground ball advantage.
It's a little annoyed. Berry given centre square responsibilities again. Heads straight to Walker. Hamling that time in position to spoil. Pedler v Roberts.
Also means that Adelaide have got to change things around. When you've got Warner and Heaney playing out of the goal square, it means that their nominal full back, Bartz has to find another.
Well, they've got to get to work at clearance. They're 10-4 down in this quarter in clearance. Mids have got to get back to work for the Adelaide Crows.
Rankin dribbling it forward. Boyd, Cleary in front. Keane, Jordan. Suddenly they're at half forward again. Michaelini got the line of the football. Got through Warner. And help in Smith, but suddenly each kick and disposal is a bit more pressured and there's not as many easy options down the line and the ball's starting to bounce their way. Rampy fires it into the pocket. Campbell accepts it briefly and will go back and have a shot and something is building.
Great effort, great call, Hunter, great call, because was it Mike Lanny who intercepted that ball at half back?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's Warner.
Superb, but then you can't get an easy out like they had in that first quarter where they took their time and could just pick the eyes out of it. Pressure came, ball goes to a one-on-one, Rampy wins it, and here's the shot.
It's a beautiful kick of the football, the 2 behind so far tonight. It's time to kick straight. As an arrow. What a change. A complete transformation.
So at what stage do you start to think,
I wasn't going to say it, Gary.
But this is it. Look, there's that. Remember the height we highlighted in the first half, the Neil Bullen chase down, and we didn't think he'd get there, but he put pressure on. Well, that's the same thing, and he gets the reward. Campbell it was that did the hard work to make sure the kick coming out wasn't precise, and then he gets rewarded on the other end. So 4 goal to 1. Terrific start for the Swans.
But 7 shots. That's the thing. 7 shots, 11 inside 50s, 11 shots. Yeah. So they've been able to turn things around significantly here, the Sydney Swans. Still a big gap.
45 points.
What's the number? 30, 25, 30, three-quarter time?
Anything under 6 goals would give them at least an outside chance. Neil Bullen, the outside of the boot. Oh, Walker, was he taken high? Yes, he was. Advantage is clear and open. That hurts the comeback, but fine goal for Fogarty.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it? It's 2 goals in this quarter direct from centre bounce. Right, that's what they've been able to get. One to Taylor Walker. They get this one out as well. And it's just a big, deep kick inside forward 50. Tex loves it. He's held. Free kick against. Walker just runs on.
It felt like the delayed whistle. It just affected the Swans defence.
Yeah, but McCartan just clips legs with Fogarty as well. And that gives him the gap. Or with Walker, actually, just gets in there.
Trying hard to keep interest in the game when you trail by so much. It doesn't take much, does it, to open back up? But Taylor and Fogarty, 2 key forwards, been able to hit the scoreboard. Getting a more competitive game. That's what's, I guess, most important. 3 goals.
Don't give up yet, Gaz. Back in the middle. Adams to the outside. Here's Pedler. Adams again. Spread-eagled on the wing. No whistle. Cleary. Miller. Dawson. Out towards the line. Fogarty will win it, but can't do much with it.
So, 5 forward half intercepts the Swans had for the half, the entire half. And we're 10, 15 minutes into this, we've had 5 already.
Yep.
6 now.
Margin 51. Adams get displaced. He got the Falcon on the head. It's a free against him.
No, it's a free kick to Sam Berry.
Okay.
So it was held when he was exiting that clearance.
Berry from the wing. So have to be really patient to get his opportunity. Long driving ball. Lloyd trapped by Rankin, not worthy of a free. Peatling, little wobbly number. Lampy up against the line. He had the help he needed. McLean got a little shove from Butts. Allowed him to have a clear passage to the footy. Butts just short of the goal square. O'Brien flew, so did Laddams. Mitchell, awkward getting rid of it. Pedler. Rankin putting on one of those moves. Dumped it off to Neil Pullen. He set them up. And Neil Pullen put him down. You just marvel at the man.
And don't they get around him here for a bit of magic? And this is, I think it's a really good challenge for Adelaide right now, and they're answering the challenge. So they've given up 4 of the first 5 goals of this third quarter, and they've got a decision to make. Are we going to make this just harder than need be? No, let's just put our foot down and go back to work again. And in amongst it, we'll litter it with magic. We'll just sprinkle the magic dust every now and then. And Isaac Rankin says, well, let me go first. And he sets this one up. But they've got back to work a bit here, the Adelaide Crows, which you've got to admire. And they may not, they may just get this back on their terms in a big way here.
They all knew who to go to, didn't they? Neil Pullen kicked the goal, but all the plaudits for Isaac Rankin. What a player to watch. What a player to play with. Half time you'd be like a spectator. The other half you're hoping he might give you something like that. Back out to 57 points now. Sheldrick, another quick entry. Well tracked by Miller. Coming as they pop their course on the way out. Neil Pullen again.
This is his 19th possession. Hello, leading possession winner on the ground for a high half forward. It's a pretty good job. His best kick.
Warner, courage to have a bounce up, taking it from Heaney. Highest of balls, suited McLean. Sheldrick hit it at full pace, put the brakes on, turns back, and Rowbottom is spoiled by Berry. And now the scramble, Pedler. Back out to the wing. Walker, his turn just to wait, and he knows how to. There he is again, Neil Pullen. Well, Grundy, a bit of tackling practice.
Exactly true.
Yeah, he's a great tackle. But look, the work rate from Neil Pullen is just
Off the charts. He was up and back, up and back.
But the big fella got down and got dirty.
Taylor Roberts made that more difficult to play on call. Hedler. So it's been played largely in Adelaide's front half for now. Fogarty just beyond him here. Ranking, you never know what he might do next, especially in this sort of move.
Angling to... Smart move.
He's passing tonight.
Smart move, because what he did, he came back off the mark, but just crept a little bit to his right side. So it gave him space.
And back far enough so the kick would count as a mark.
That's right.
It went about 12 metres, but that doesn't matter.
Probably could have been called to play on.
It's a good one to show what you can do if you're smart enough. And now he's got 50 metres.
Oh, clearing.
50 metres, just what you don't need to give up. It's hard enough already. Third 50-metre penalty. Again, it's going to cost them a goal. Jordan Dawson pulling up the socks and bringing up the 100 at the SCG.
So we'll have a look at it again. Hopefully we'll look at the ranking decision.
Now the connection between the coach and the captain. This is Matthew Nicks, 175 games with the Swans. He played 9 in that premiership year. And you'd expect the defenders to spoil better than that. Come on, Johnson. And here's Jordan Dawson, 56 games in 5 years. 64, in fact, with Sydney Swans. Number 34.
See what Brad just said?
No, I didn't say anything, Gary.
He said he kicked 6 that time. This is really, I think this is really impressive. So Matthew Nicks would rightfully be sitting there going, 4 or 5 have given up here. I think he'd be just as satisfied with these last 3 goals and the counterpunch that they're delivering.
16-4 though, how good is that? That's accuracy at its best.
3 goals stemmed the flow, didn't it? Coming the other way. Rowbottom as they get back to work. Butts to Worrell again. He knew where Miller was, hounded by Jordan. Neil Paul, and it's all go for the Crows. Back in motion again. Berry's kick. The open plane in the pocket. Keys versus Blakey. Brilliant.
Yeah. That's the first time Ben Keys has been able to get goal side on Blakey, but Blakey's credit, he chased him down, hunted him down, laid an effective tackle.
He's getting a bit terse there.
And the way he tackled Nick Blakey as well, we talked about the chase down tackle. That was a textbook.
Well handled by Worrell. Coming, just little pop kick. Free kick to Rochelle.
So
he goes over 50. They'll probably think it's worth it.
He ragdolled Rochelle for about a minute, Dave Rampy, and then he was always going to get some return.
I think the comeback's been officially derailed. Rosselli's kicked his third. Chaos reigns at the SCG.
We'll have a look at it again. He's had his hands full, Dane Rampy tonight. He's had to play on Rochelle, he's had to play on Rankin on different occasions, and they've all hit the scoreboard. Let's just see how this unfolded here. So a little bit of head-high contact there. And then the Fitzky.
No.
Oh, come on.
I might cop a 1,500 of Josh Rochelle for that. It's incumbent upon the umpire too.
I mean,
to be able to sit there and go, no, son, you stand up, go back and try and kick it from where you were. I mean, I wouldn't be against fining him for that.
I guess they'll say the contact was unnecessary.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no.
And it would have pushed the contact would have pushed him backwards, yes, but
the flop.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Anyway, kicker on the night now, Rochelle. 5 last week, 3 tonight.
He's had a good night.
Good couple of weeks for Rochelle.
Having a good season, putting his head down, his bum up after being left out of the team for this very fixture late last year. Another entry again, defended by Blakey. Corey Warner's turn now, he had nowhere to go. Barry, who is it? He was a tackle machine when he first came into the Crows team, and a fierce wraparound on there.
They got back to work here, Hutto. The Crows have got back to work. They just had a little breather.
A spark, didn't they?
Yep.
Back at it again. Saligo was the contact.
And you can see it. The energy's back up, and that contested footy, which was, they were down in early in the game. They've got an appetite for it again.
Rochelli's moving again. Blakey left his man to help out. Coming back to the more central position. There's a whistle that's gone out.
I think he might have been looking for another free kick then too, Josh Rochelli, which I think is what the Sydney boys are telling him. But he's in good form. They've picked the bit back up here, the Crows. They've got blood in their nostrils.
Will Thorpe. Oh, he got it somehow. Short on the left. Crows dominating possession the last 10 minutes. McCartan. Release kick. Not to read the numbers. McLean made the contest. Heaney front and centre. So eyes turned to the wing. Adams did pretty well, but Keane didn't overplay the hand. Off the ground. Through Fogarty. Yes, Rochelli. There was a welcoming party for him that time. Heaney into the middle. Adams. And into the near side to McInerney. Back to Wade. McLean was leading hard.
But the Adams kick comes wide and they got Warner one out inside forward 50. And now he's got about 8 players in front of him.
Retreating to Hamlin. With game last week wasn't a particularly memorable one. From a Sydney point of view, Adams to McInerney. He is bringing up the same milestone tonight. The lead is 69. The effort has been better in this quarter. Crows' response has been outstanding. Laddams flew with intent. It took 2 to stop him. Will Thorpe has it kick into the middle. Rochelli was a soccer player, and that was absolutely magnificent. And it's over to Keys. It deserved a goal, and that's exactly what it got. That is finery.
That is brilliant. There's an artistry to that. So he grew up playing soccer in Shepparton, I think, in the Goulburn Valley. And just the way he flicks this on, he was offside, Coots, but...
Very good, Gary.
Was he? Look at that.
He was.
That is one of the plays of the year there.
Isn't it?
And good enough to finish too with the lizard bearing down on him. It's a bit of artistry and all of that. Superb from Josh Rochelli. Superb.
So good.
Yeah.
We'll be watching this all week.
Alex Neil-Bullen just came from the bench a little sore. Looks like a left knee, so he's just gone for a little run. He's with the doctor now. They're just testing it out, so it'll be interesting to see whether he comes back into this game.
How good, Hutto? How good was that?
It's amazing, wasn't it?
Just
saw an incredible goal on the Gold Coast today, didn't we?
Yeah.
From Flanders.
Hey, I don't want Alex Neil-Bullen to be sore. He's probably nearly the best player on the ground tonight.
Saligo takes off. Berry back to Phil Thorpe, showing his mobility again. Coming, and it is into the goal square. Keys again goes down.
So resting Jordan Dawson forward now. Love that.
Luxuries now.
Yeah, love that from Matthew Nix. Just continue to expose your players to different areas of the ground.
Drops very short. Play on the call. Keys again tries to fire it out. Jordan somehow found a way to exit. Quick kick though, and Keane in front.
That is intercept mark number 6 for Mark Keane. Been superb.
Dawson drew his attention. The kick was pretty darn good. Curtin
Had the opportunity first to give it back to Rankin. I tried to, not sure what he tried. Actually, I think he was just trying to absorb and then maybe feed back again, but didn't have the strength that time to execute a handball.
line. Apologies.
Bit of feedback.
Yeah.
For the players, like this guy's game.
That's the mark. Giving away the free. In the end, he gets another possession. Into the pocket towards Dawson, who got displaced pretty comfortably that time. Brandy with a fresh knee bandage tonight. At the start of the night, it's got a bit of mud on it now. Clears it Probably only momentarily, although Kilthorpe was on the floor. Corey Warner.
That's a great pickup. Great pickup by Warner.
Turn and handball. Butts claimed.
Sheldridge had 8 in this quarter, so he's tried to sort of generate through the midfield. Good tackle there.
Close to a grinding halt. Under Peatling.
Right, Amanda, please. Thank you.
Adams. Warner. Sheldrick. Disjointed. It's an Adelaide free, so there's no advantage for Isaac Keane. He better return it quick smart.
Jordan Butts just came from the ground as well after that tackle. That's the scary thing for the Crows, isn't it? When they're so far up, you just worry that about bodies getting hit, particularly with the Swans getting frustrated. You just want them to get through healthy at this point.
Okay. Keep an eye on that. High ball for Grundy, toppling, and he brings it to ground.
He's pretty good. Yep. Brody Grundy. He's competed hard. He's one that has been honest all night. So for all the early bluster, with their 4 of the first 5 goals, they've lost the quarter by 10 points, and they're on the back foot again here. Adelaide just steadied themselves and got an appetite for hard work again, and sort of resorted back to what we'd seen.
McInerney places it for Heaney. Thought he was deserving of a free kick, and the umpire sees it the same way. Last 15 seconds of the quarter. Heaney gives it plenty. Tries to kick to Warner. Predictable for the Crows. Kimo can spoil. Hayward to Cleary. And that will be all, so some attention for Butts. Is that ice though? Keep an eye on that in the last quarter.
Hang on here.
Once again, it's flaring a little. Agitation. They fought the fight much better in that quarter, the Sydney Swans. All that did to listen to the response from the Adelaide Crows, who kicked 6 goals for the term to increase their lead to 75 points. What a Saturday night showing from the Adelaide Crows.
All right, folks, 3/4 time here at the SCG. Well, not St Kilda, Sydney, they actually came out a little bit better in that third term. They came out with a bit of a rush, and we thought, oh, here comes Sydney. Could they do it? But the answer was no. They put on four goals. The trouble with that is Adelaide put on 6. 18-4, 112. To Sydney, 5-7-37. I tell you what, this is what we love to see from teams kicking straight, and that stretches the margin out and gives the opposition just no chance at all. 18 goals, 4. Thank you, mother, for the Rabbits. I tell you what, if Richmond had done that today, they would have toppled the GWS Giants, but that was, they were unable to actually kick straight. So this is why it's so important, folks, as we all know it as footy fans, kick straight, kick straight. Manish, how you going? 1 goal. Oops, wrong one. Hey, Sheila, a cheer. You're good at picking the winners. See, you went for Adelaide. Yeah, I thought Adelaide too. Of course, Adrian, if you're listening in the background, he'll be happy because Adelaide's won. His multi is, your multi continues tomorrow. Who have you got tomorrow in your multi? You must be, I need to have a look at the teams for the multis for tomorrow. I'm probably tipping, I don't know, maybe you've got Melbourne Geelong. Don't tell me you got West Coast. Tell me you got West Coast in there for tomorrow. That'll be big odds all in itself, because West Coast, I'm sure, would be about $10 to win that game tomorrow against Geelong, even though it's at home. Melbourne St Kilda, I know St Kilda play pretty good at Marvel Stadium. It's Marvel Stadium, isn't it? Let me just double check that. Oh my God, Melbourne St Kilda, they're playing that at Traeger Park in Alice Springs. What a place to play that one. Melbourne and, oh my God, you got West Coast Eagles. Holy Toledo, Batman. You got Eagles. Well, you just never know. You just never know. Look, Richmond nearly did against the Giants. Maybe the Eagles can do it. Good luck. We'll be cheering on the West Coast Eagles for you. Hopefully you get that result in. But they're playing, Melbourne and St Kilda tomorrow are playing that in Alice Springs. Son of all, $500. You'll probably get that 500 just off West Coast Eagles winning. My gosh. I wasn't sure who was favourite going into this game, Sydney-Adelaide, but I would have thought Adelaide would have been favourite. I certainly like those. I'm not sure how many selections I got right so far this weekend. Let's see. I would have tipped Brisbane, Collingwood. No, I would have tipped Gold Coast because they're pretty hard to beat. You would have had to have tipped the Giants, Adelaide, 2-4. Yeah, I probably would have got 4 out of 5 so far. I would have missed on the Freo game, I think. Just been at home. Correct. Oh, actually, you know what? I've got that one there. Where are the odds? $7 the Eagles, $7. Geelong $1.10 in that game, so they're going to be favourite. You got Freo. Yeah, Freo would have been a good price actually against Gold Coast up there today. I tell you what, there was a rush of goals in that third quarter though. 4 and 6, 10 goals in that third term. But this is what we like about kicking accurate. 18 goals for here. Melbourne City victorious. There we go. Melbourne victory. Oh yeah, my one wasn't still going. 1-0 Melbourne victory. Melbourne City defeating Melbourne victory. There we go. Hey, Melbourne won. A Melbourne team won, so that's what counts. Hey, that's enough of me from talking just for the moment. Let's get back down to the ground. 40 seconds away from the bounce of the ball to the final quarter to wrap up Saturday football. I'll tell you what, it's what's that? 40, 60, 70, about 75 points or something like that. Let's see if Adelaide can put on and make it 100 in this final term.
7 score involvements for him in this game, so he has been really strong. And we're looking at these highlights here. First up, that goal in the first quarter, we saw his ability to just shake defenders and get on the scoreboard. We know he had 5 last week and he's really backing it up. And then this is what he does best. This is why we love him, and also some people hate him, his ability to suck in defenders, in this case Dane Rampy. And then that right there, I mean, not many players in the league can do that with that precision. The soccer background coming in, but he has been so impressive for this side. And just to watch for the Crows, Neil Bullen, who came off with a little knee niggle in that third quarter. We'll just have a watch on him, how he runs out the game. And Jordan Butts as well, who also came off with a little niggle. So we'll see how they run out this last quarter.
Okay, thank you, Rouge. Well, Shirley was the focus of an article in the Advertiser in Adelaide this morning because he was left out for this game late last year. Matthew Nicks was criticised in some areas. It followed all that happened around the showdown, and his maturity has been one thing. The club organised a mentor who has really helped him with areas such as humility and just being thankful and grateful, I guess, for his position. And he's responded brilliantly. And he's been an excellent player that broken ribs at the start of the season. So it's really working well for him and the team. 75 points is the margin as we start this final term with Adelaide. And they responded, Gaz, didn't they? It was 45 points at one stage and he was starting to pull things up.
No, well, they kicked 4 of the first 5 goals, but more impressive than that even was that Adelaide just got hungry and got their work rate back up and just banged on the last 5 of the quarter to bash it back out to 75. They've been absolutely superb, the Adelaide Crows. And the fact that they had a little bit of a challenge and responded like that makes them even more impressive, I think. And the game's theirs for 100 plus right now, if they can maintain the rage.
And who knows how important percentage might be come the end of the season for a double chance or top 2 spot, who knows?
Don't worry, we'll be talking about the Sydney Swans for the week as well, and just where they're at. They're staring at a 4-8 start to the season and back-to-back poundings.
How's that coming? It's far off in the second bye. Malcolm went to ground and he realised he was still in.
He heard Isaac Heaney too. Right then.
Two Isaacs come on, he says.
Was it accidental back heel, I think.
Grundy. Back out to McLean. O'Brien the tackle.
Brody Grundy's won quite a bit of footy, leading contested possession player on the ground.
Well, he's had 17 of those. Now he's the number one disposal player for the Sydney Swans. Probably says enough in regards to that. You know, he shouldn't be leading the way.
He's been getting a fair bit of the footy actually in the last month. 23 touches last week. Hack out of the air from row bottom. In dispute for a while. Still is. Michael Lanny couldn't really clear the nest, and it's row bottom from Jordan. Inside again. Worrell, a step on Adams, favoured considerably by the bounce, but then jolted out in the tackle. Cleary back to where he hoped someone would be, but instead he was littered with crows. Coming, Hinge hasn't had to probably play the significant role that he did last season. Hinge off to Miller and along the line to Curtin, who continues.
Miller's kicked it really well.
He's a highly skilled player, John Owen. His career really has been crippled by injury. Boy, that's a tough call on the no 15 here. What we've seen.
11 kicks tonight for Miller at 82%. So it's excellent.
No place for Beards in the last quarter.
No Beards. Sam Draper's come on, and the big fella is going to have a sit.
Almost has a sit.
It's a good time for Draper to come in and play some minutes. Sid? What do I call it?
Sam.
Did I? Did I? I apologise.
I was trying to not let everyone, you know.
No. Call it out. Sorry, Sid. You should remember Sid. It's a great name.
Yes, Sydney against the Swans.
Quality player too. So they've still got him to come in the coming years.
Yeah, serving an apprenticeship as the sub, but listen, he stays in the team. He'll be learning plenty. As this young man is, Curtin. Full stretch. O'Brien just flings it. There is Draper.
Great turn.
Knocked it on, but it goes to Rowbottom, who thought he could step past, but Curtin brought him down. Now it's over and out.
As you can probably gather from the smile on Riley Thilthorpe's face, just a tactical sub, that one, just managing him to make sure they get him through to next week.
Most improved player this year for the Adelaide Crows, nearly in the competition. Riley Thilthorpe.
Yeah, right up there in the Coleman race, so he limits his chances, doesn't he? He's only got the 2 for the night. Could be a chance to fill the boots, who knows? Warner back up amongst it after spending the third quarter, I should say. Only out of the goal square. Next 3 matches for the Crows. 2 on the bye. As we said, huge Friday night against the Lions at home. Draw last time, and then the Hawks down in Tassie.
Yeah, it's a big massive. That is a big match next Friday.
Really still going at it. Miller, step on through, not 1, not 2, but 3 tackles. And to the outside to Curtin. And then to Berry. Now this is a high ball from Dawson. Keys, you know he won't give up, outnumbered. Next contest, Rampy looked one way, then the other, and back to the left again. And they didn't mark it, and Cleary couldn't. It was always going to be an opportunity for the Crows to step through. Hinge to Neil Bullen, coming. Knocked away from Mitchell. Neil Bullen couldn't get ball to boot. Fogarty fires it back onto that left boot of Ben Keys. He's almost permanently set up for the snap.
Well, he deserves the reward, Ben Keys. I've loved his game tonight. Gaz, I reckon his work rate's back to that elite level. His tackling inside the forward half of the ground has been spot on. His pressure, he set the tone in the first half for pressure inside forward 50 for Adelaide, and others jumped on board because of his efforts. Now he's got a couple of goals on the board, so starting to cash in.
Yeah, so good to see Alex Neil-Bullen's back out there. So he would appear to have got through and had a hand in that as well. He's had 6 score involvements. Only Michelle's had more. And I agree with you. I think Keys' work rate sets a standard for the rest of this forward half. We saw it last night from a Collingwood point of view. We're seeing it again tonight. Forward halves that just value pressure and tackling and keeping it in and turning it over as much as they do kicking goals. And it's setting them up beautifully.
118th consecutive game for Ben Keys. He'll be against his old team Brisbane next Friday night. Heaney off his own steam to half.
Oh!
Hinge takes the mark. What a climb at half back.
Wow. He got another lift. He took the mark and went up again. This back 6 is solid. Let's have a look at this, shall I? Back with the flight. Goes up. Yeah, very good.
Sometimes they're better on the replay, guys. Sometimes they're not. Dawson just plucks that. It's still a very good goal.
So they've had a great win. Jordan Dawson's played well, but he hasn't had to rip the game to shreds by any stretch, and he misses there and kicks out the full. But it's been such an even. It's one of the more even performances from a team for a long time. I mean, Keane in the back half's been superb. And Rochelle we've talked about. And Neil Bullen was spoken about. I've loved Worrell's game. It's just across the board, John. I think that's a great sign.
Roberts with the high ball, batted back by Keane. Cummings somehow stayed on his feet. Can't guide the kick. Roberts again.
It's efficient. It's very efficient tonight. 282 disposals so far in the game for 19 goals. So it's not that we're looking at high 300s, 400 disposals to achieve that.
Look at this bloke. How good is he playing?
Oh, he's had an unbelievable year. Very, very good. From minute 1 in 25, this man.
It's his 8th intercept mark. Mind you, they left him alone in the first half for much of the game.
The record's 10, isn't it? We've said that a lot of games.
It's 312 blokes.
Usually they take 5 early and then we don't hear from them again. Coming down the line, relatively low ball, so ramping with a double fist into the crowd. So their biggest win ever against the Swans was by 90 points in 1996. And that was at the start of that season. Sydney ended up playing in the grand final that year under Rodney Eade.
No, that's an omen. Can't see it the way this season's unfolding for this Swans outfit. They have got some absolute gilt-edge class not playing, which is going to make them better when they come back. But I think by the time they get back, it might be beyond them this season.
Gordon was been working on the bench for all the season. Rankin, feeds it into the middle. Cut off with the pass by McInerney. That just allows Smith to come on through into the goal square. Hitting it hard was Keys, and they were hitting him hard.
Yeah, so they got McDonald, who hasn't played.
Their forward line particularly has been decimated.
It has been. Unfortunately for them, I think now at 4 and 8, and the bye is 2 weeks away. It might be too late.
The percentage had been okay until the last couple of weeks. It's taken a hammering now. Grundy looking for the handoff. McCartney. Dawson under for a long time, so they're ready for it. Adams crashes the ground. Rochelle fires it out. Worrell's never kicked an AFL goal. Just for a moment then, expectations were rising. Coming. That's going to go close. Oh, Pedler, has anyone touched it?
No, they have.
How did that get through?
Pedler's just done enough to disrupt in the air. Brodie Grundy looked all over that.
Isaac Cumming has kicked a second.
So again, Sydney have the numbers at ground level, but it just goes beyond that. You can see that Isaac was just in amongst so many. And then Grundy just lost sort of where the ball was. Once Pedler put himself there, he missed it. Great vision, isn't it?
Take Grundy out of the contest.
Well, you can do anything. You can almost
possibly
barely goal square.
Within a metre of the goal line.
87 points. What did you say the record was, Hutto?
90.
90?
In 96.
Still plenty of footy. Plenty of time left in this. The Swans have ground to a bit of a halt after having a flurry early in the third quarter. They've had about 10 good minutes, the Swans, and that's it.
Warner. about 3 ideas of what he was going to do with it then.
That's a give-up kick, right?
Ball fist away from Hinge. Campbell trying to put something together here, and he did until it was smothered by Keane. In the handball. Campbell couldn't get back to ball despite his very best efforts. Close to the boundary line now, seen out by Miller, who asked the polite question of whether it was insufficient. Campbell handball. Doesn't get the response he was after. Tells the ruckman that they are a long way back.
He's right, they are.
And so now they come a long way forward. Laddams, top of the square. Keane.
There he is.
Umpire knew what to do. He had to play the mark.
Oh, no, he must have played that. He's only up to 8.
Dawson. Fogarty coming up a long way to get involved in the mark collection. Fine kick. O'Brien had 2 tools to contend with. Rochelle just trying to force the issue. And because he tried to do that, he's penalised. Rowbottom quickly out of the boot to Sheldrick.
I haven't seen the corridor used by Sydney hardly at all, which is a credit to the defence and defending of Adelaide.
The kick backfires. And the crowd has noticeably thinned. They're just not used to the Sydney Swans being uncompetitive. Berry meets his match in the tough mistakes in Rowbottom.
I wonder what their attitude will be going forward here. Now, there's players that have been around for a while. Are they the future? Will they be there when Sydney challenge? Hopefully it turns for them quickly. They've got young players that they need to give time to.
Warner triples it. What was Keane going to do then? He was going to kick it out of the air for a moment. He thought again. Mitchell to Warner. He's been shaping kicks all night, but hasn't quite got the sculptures right. Until they get all their players back, it's hard for them to assess where they stand, I guess, Gaz.
This is the worst part of the night, I think, if you're a player for Sydney. Fans cheering behind just to score.
Well, we saw that even in the second quarter, didn't we?
Yeah, it was down there at half-time and the players came off the ground and the fans were disappointed clearly, but there wasn't the sort of...
No, vitriol.
Yeah, that can come at times when you're getting belted like they were.
Well, I know the club has had so much regular success, haven't they?
They got some credit in the bank.
Malikan kicks it deep. McLean searching for a third goal. Downfield, taken quickly by Berry. Please themselves out there. It's 2 Giants recruits, Pete Langan coming. Back on the left. Draper, certain how he's disposed of that one. And Chad Warner, another amateur umpire out there, says it was a throw, umpire. Deaf he is again. Adam's getting a good run now in the ruck. Neither really of a decisive tap. Warner stripped over it immediately. Rowbottom lays his 9th tackle of the night. Berry's hands are quick enough and they get a little chain going. Just nudge down the line. Takes some more territory and the umpire says no.
First time Matthew Nix has coached a winning game against the Sydney Swans.
Yes, yeah, his old team.
And we'll take that one. He's got them well positioned inside the top 4.
No reason they can't be right up there.
A lot of footy, obviously, still to be played, but when you look at the structure of the side and the way that they've been able to play, well, not just tonight, by the way, it's been a bit easy for them. They made it easy, but their profile suggests that they have got a lot of things in place going forward. They defend really well. We know they can score. And they're pretty sound.
Corey Warner. Running out wide was McInerney. Had a couple coming at the footy. But again, they know exactly how to put themselves in the line. And it was Brodie Smith. He can't wait for the siren, I don't think, Dean Cox. This is a hard one.
He wants this to end now. You see Mills in the background there as well, out suspended. Amadi out suspended. Then the injuries to go with it.
They'd be feeling guilty.
Yep.
Mills and Amadi would be feeling guilty.
Laddams, good follow. McInerney, pretty sombre affair, his 100th game celebrations. Robot hasn't stopped trying all night. McInerney's had 23, Robot 19, but 9 tackles.
And it's just the way it is for Sydney. You can talk about the injuries. We can talk about a couple of players are out. We're suspended. There's 7 players that walk straight back in to this lineup. But, you know, there's 7 with opportunity. And collectively, though, tonight, it's been completely poor.
Evan Warner, his opportunities have all been under duress.
I'd love Tommy Papley back, who brings so much spirit and energy, obviously. So, maybe they got one more game before the bye, I think, at Adelaide City Swans. I mean, they put a line through it there, and they get back to work.
Richmond, yep.
So that's, on the surface, Richmond outstanding today, didn't quite get there, but that's a winnable game.
Roberts with the setup. Decent lead. Corey Warner, Hayward, knocked away Rochelle. Under serious pressure, Cleary.
There you go, right with Peter, Riley.
85 points, just a little bit of a nothing period here.
It's just grinding ever so slowly to an inevitable end here.
Just trying to talk it up, guys.
Yeah, you're doing a very good job, but it is what it is. Swans are sort of trying to fly a flag, and the Crows, they're probably a bit weary given how much pressure they put on in this game. So they could be forgiven for not quite having the juice to run this ride out.
That's well designed for Laddams, McInerney.
I think you can play Laddams, McLean and Grundy in the same side, Johnny.
Well, at the moment, I think through necessity they have to.
Not many teams do.
No, that's right. But until Marty comes back, replaces one instantly, and then McDonald's the other one that unfortunately just isn't out there. So
only 5 goals for the night. Off the boot of 4 different Swans. And the Crows know the right time to defend. It's close enough to be able to work through. 5-10-40 plays 20 goals for. It's a stunning scoreline. Nice trajectory out wide for Curtin. Has enjoyed the experience tonight. His 15th disposal. That would be his equal. In fact, he's up to 15 disposals. That's his equal career high.
Yeah, so again, 8 goals straight they've kicked from set shots, if you don't mind, the Adelaide Crows, so that always helps. I think this is another really interesting development that they've got a player who can play behind the ball, who can play forward as well. They've used him there, and now he's just positioned himself on a wing and looks comfortable.
But what I like also about his game tonight, he walks away with maybe up to 20 by the time the game ends, but it was in that first quarter when the game was really hot, and it was the best I've seen him in that time of game so far in his short career.
Grundy, Sheldrick, and the pretty significant opposition. So did Jordan. Filter back into the defensive 50. It goes to the outside. Crashing back with Jordan. Michaelani, Berry. Fogarty just nudged under it successfully. Here's Malikan trying to show a bit of dash. Warner, they were ready for him again. Ball turned over. Now what can Rankin put together? He's doing the maths. But just numbers won't add up, unfortunately.
It was an opportunity. If ever you're going to kick a barrel on the run, when you're 86 points, 84 points up in the last quarter. We talked about their recruiting a lot, haven't we, Adelaide? Early in the piece, they started so well, and they have added. They've had it really well. Neil Bullen has had another fantastic night tonight. Peatling's been a good addition. Cummings been a good addition. Just really good, solid footballers.
Nobody tries to stand up, and now it's Walker's turn. McCartan. Danger hasn't passed, that's for sure.
They haven't lost the appetite for the tackling.
No, they haven't. He's been the subject of plenty of them.
They might have just at the start of that third quarter, but they quickly found it again, which is impressive.
Berry gets them ever closer.
Well, last week they conceded 64 inside 50s, and we saw the outcome today. They've conceded 66, the Swans. We get a similar result on the board and only been able to get in the low 40s themselves.
Roberts. And short or long, he decides on the safer of the two routes out to McInerney, leading possession winner for the Swans. Back again to McCartan. And out the other side. Rampy. Clear is on his own way down the wing. Basically covered now as Grundy comes in for his 23rd disposal. He's going for the switch rather ambitiously, a bounce. And across to McInerney. Warner running hard to be the next piece in the puzzle, but it's going to take a very good kick here, so he goes longer than that. To a bigger target in Laddams, loping after it. He's denied access. Peatling relentless, both with and without the ball. Smith to Miller. Now Butts. Short to Pedler. Worrell. Too far out to launch. It's really to nobody other than Brodie Grundy. A fumble. You don't want Rankin from the pocket. Oh, he went down the baseline, but
I was going to say that was going to be Brodie Grundy's 18th disposal in the defensive half of the ground, so he's had to control that tonight. He had to go back and do his best to help.
He couldn't quite get the disposal.
No,
a rumble in the middle.
Keane's ever been the leading possession winner on the ground for Adelaide.
Here's Saligo. Full run up. Tempers the kick into the pocket. Well anticipated by Rampy until he fell over. Play on the call.
Keys again.
Rankin put his head down.
Duck under it.
Umpire, they look at each other and say, "Nah, you've ducked."
Yeah, well called. Good call.
Sheldon. Off to Lloyd. Again, that was to Mr. Nobody in particular. Rounded up by Worrell. Across the hinge to his favourite left side. Worrell, moment of indecision, and then Miller provides the way out. Rids himself of Jordan. Kicks low to Saligo, who continues to impress. Takes it short to Rochelle. Still
Fogarty there.
got Fogarty.
Yeah, he missed it twice.
Maybe it's set for Tex.
Keys.
Or Keys. Yep. Bit of soccer flavour tonight at the SCG. Thumbs up for Ben Keys.
Good on him. Good on him. I think, Jono, you mentioned it earlier. That was just great reward. He was a really, really effective player in the first quarter and hardly touched the ball. It was just his energy and his willingness to run and compete. The amount of times he's been the forward 1v2 and outsized and just thrown himself into a contest to get the ball to ground. And this is just boundless energy and willingness to keep. If you keep presenting to the right spots, these things happen late in the game.
Look, he stops. He's happy with the crowd. High five. Pause. You're guilty.
Got the 91. Got the 91 points, although he got there.
Game 148 for Ben Keys. He's at 418 in a row for the Crows. Plenty of those in the midfield, and then repositioned into the front half, which has just been perfect for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, and he's unconditional. So if you've got one player in your front, in your forward 50 who's unconditional and just competes like that, then you start to set up around those sorts of players. And they got all the big tools. We know the skill that, where Thilthorpe is, and we know that Fogarty. He's got a bit to play with, Matthew Nicks. That hasn't always been the case, but right now they are stacked, the Crows.
Looked like he started coding already. Matty Nixon in the box. Getting things set up. Move on.
Big Friday night coming up against the Lions.
What would 100 points be? no one's really thinking about that right now, I guess.
Well, it feels like it always means something, doesn't it?
You think it does, from an opposition.
Yeah, as much as anything. Adams' kick gets them in. McLean. Campbell getting harder and harder. His weight all going the wrong way. Well handled by Hinge.
Well, we asked Matty Nick's pre-game, Gary, around, how do you bridge the gap? They bridge the gap. How do you go past Geelong and Collingwood, the Gold Coast Suns, who are able to just beat them this year? And he goes, well, win tonight, a big win away from home, build that confidence.
Win games like this, he said. Well, they've just won it. They've absolutely smashed them. So next Friday night it just becomes what footy's all about. Test yourself against the reigning premier when you're probably in the best form you've been in for a decade.
The outstretched hands of Cumming. Gets to McInerney. Fleet of foot needed to be and places it well. Leading mark taken by Hayward.
With the 9 touches, Bill Hayward has found it hard to get too involved. 1 goal.
They kicked the first goal of the third quarter when they were trying to just mount something to show for the night. As their leading goal kicker for the season. They've missed so many of their regulars. Minor premiers last year, grand finalists. It was a stuttering end to last season in some regard. They didn't get themselves together over the last month and through the first couple of weeks of finals. Coaching changeover, of course, ahead of this season. Michael Annie. So goalless in this final turn to add to 1 goal from the first half. Such a meagre return. Blakey with a handoff. Here's Malikan. The wobbly number inside 50.
Right now, Hutto, they've kicked 1 goal in the first, second and fourth quarters. A solitary goal in 3 quarters of footy.
Came off the boot of this man, Hayden McLean. He's taken the bandage off. Mouth guard in the sock. Fully prepared. Trying to land his 3rd goal of the night. 12 goals, 6 coming in 8 games. So going at a career high of 1.5 goals per game. It's going to fall short again in the square. A good one-on-one contest. Hayward did his best, but he saw after that. There's going to be a lot of headaches in the Sydney camp. So that gets it back to 90 points. Exactly the equal biggest win they've ever had against the Swans, the Adelaide Crows. Floater out to the wing. Just on a minute remaining. Time for one more highlight. We've seen a few tonight. Most of them have been for Adelaide fans to enjoy. One of the assists of the season. Josh Rochelle.
Yeah, that is going to be replayed over and over and over again. And he's going to love every time it's played. It was a special moment in this season so far. Superb.
Don't let Jared push that on you on 360, Gary. Don't let it happen.
Going to get a run before Monday night.
Hook back into play. O'Brien, Heaney. Jordan does what he can. Back to the wing. 35 seconds, so nothing changes from here. It'll be a 90-point win.
Lots and lots of work to be done for the Swans, and the Adelaide Crows pack up and head home and get set to take on the reigning premier in a Friday night blockbuster to find out. Well, I think we know where they're at, but we'll really find out on Friday night. This has been superb from them tonight.
Interesting shape on the kick. Taylor Walker to ground, but kept it moving. Jordan Dawson. Rochelle, one last flourish. Off the left. High ball, of course, kicking down into the goal square. Not quite for Neil Bullen. McInerney to Blakey. And the siren is going to sound around the SCG. As the siren sounds at the SCG, which has lost so many of its attendance tonight because the home team have been absolutely slaughtered by the Adelaide Crows. They'll have sterner tests to come, including next week. But what a statement it has been from Matthew Nicks. Humiliated by the Swans in recent years, but not tonight. The humiliation lies with the home team, who have so many questions to answer in the season. But let's celebrate with the Adelaide Crows.
Well, Hutto, they started this season in the first 5 rounds averaging 120 points a game, but they also were giving up 92, so they made the adjustment. They averaged 85 since then and only give up 65, but tonight they're back to their... So then it all comes together on a night like this. They score, over the 120, they get 131 points and they keep Sydney to 41. So Matthew Nicks will be over the moon delighted with this. They're just tick boxes everywhere. The Sydney Swans are going to be a big story. There'll be a story question about that. But right now, when you're talking about teams that are positioning themselves, albeit in the first half of the year, then this Adelaide Crows is right there.
Let's get down to Ruby.
Thank you, Hutto. Here with Josh. Josh, 90-point win on the SCG. You can't ask for much more than that, can you?
No, we can't. We knew our last kind of 5 or 6 games against the Swans weren't too good, and they probably had the bet over us the last year, as I said, the 5-6 games. But I thought today our contest was exceptional, and we bought the fight from the start.
We'll bring Ben in here. Ben, jump in. Now, to get all awkward, I'm sure you guys are really awkward around each other. The connection out on the field between you two is incredible. Talk me through that moment. We'll start with you, Josh, but that soccer across the ground to set Ben up, talk me through it.
I put that down to Monday after my trying to play a bit of soccer, and Keezy loves his soccer. We're both Manchester United supporters, so I literally just saw him in the corner of my eye. I felt like an attacking midfield, and he was a left wing, and I just stuck the boot out, and it worked perfectly.
From your end, is it just that unspoken connection for you guys, and how good to have a player that is going to set you up like that?
It is. Yeah, I said to him, he's had a lot of highlights so far in his young career. That's probably on top for mine, certainly the games I've seen, but he's been fantastic. And I know, we love the flashy stuff he does, but I think just his role playing and his hardness at the ball, his contest is what we love most about him. So he's had a good year, and all the boys were good tonight as well.
You enjoyed the ability to be able to get under the skin of a few of the Swans defenders today?
Yeah, it wasn't my intention. But yeah, I love playing on Dane Rampy. I think he's an exceptional player, and I think he's going to hold me in good stead for the future. It was a great battle between us, and I think that all the Swans defenders were great players to play on.
Ben, as one of the leaders of the club, what have you seen in Josh? I mean, we know he's got that side of him that he's able to, I guess, stir up defenders, but I guess he's shown a real maturity in the way he's been managing that. Absolutely, yeah. He's found the line, and we love that he plays on edge, and a lot of our boys do as well, but really found the line and knows when to go and when not. But yeah, just his toughness and his intensity, we love it. Brings the energy. It's just awesome to play with. Now, Matty Nicks, an old Swans player, had never beaten the Swans before tonight. Was that known coming into the game? Yeah, I think it was. I've been in the club since the same time as Nixie, so yeah, we haven't beaten them yet. So we know coming here is really tough. Team that played in the grand final last year as well. So yeah, we knew it was going to be tough, but yeah, we just set the tone from the start and we were able to finish it off. Ben, Josh, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be watching that goal all week, I reckon, so go enjoy the win. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Saturday Debrief, brought to you by the Toyota Tundra. Remarkable power, undeniable presence. David King, Jack Rewalt, Jay Clark. The winners are...
All right, there we go, folks. I don't think we'll deep dive into this one this evening. Sydney, well, I'm not sure what you can say about them. 4 points in that final term. Of course, Adelaide still put on 3 goals, 1. Too strong, too classy, and they did it with a leg in the air, did Adelaide this evening. Sydney going back to the drawing board. Tell you what, they've got a few things they've got to, well, go and sort out back there. I don't know whether they're going to be in a rebuilding process or what, but tell you what, half the team, they just don't look like they put in too much effort out there. And it's always the same few players I always see putting in, like Heaney, Grundy, the Lizard out there. That's probably about it. As I keep saying, the rest of the players you could just about put up for trade because they just don't seem to put in week after week, unfortunately, for Sydney. But Adelaide, way too good. All right, just before we wrap this up, let's go and check out the goal scorers finally for the night. And, of course, for Adelaide, Josh Rochelle, Ben Keys, both with 3. Riley Thilthorpe with 2. Darcy Fogarty, 2. Isaac Cumming with 2. Taylor Walker, Saligo, Smith, Ranky, Pedler, Neil Bullen, Millerer, Dawson, Berry, all singles. Pretty much the whole side for Adelaide got on the scoreboard. And, of course, for Sydney, Hayden McLean with 2. Heaney, Hayward, Campbell, singles. That's it for Sydney. Disposal getters 27. Justin McInerney top the table. No one in the 30s this evening, but Justin McInerney for Sydney top the table 27. 5 clearances. Alex Neil Bullen best for Adelaide on 25. We're all 24. McKean 23. Isaac Heaney, there he is, 23. And Brody Grundy always doing well. Always giving it a big crack out there on the ground. Who else we got down there? James Peatling, 21. Dawson, 21. Cumming, 21 for the Crows. Chad Warner, well, he didn't do much tonight, I don't think, from what I saw, just even though he had 19 touches. Well, he did have 12 clearances, but he just wasn't dangerous enough for mine. 16 kicks, 3 handballs, 3 behinds. He's got to put the score on the board too. It's all about scoreboard pressure, and that's what Adelaide did tonight. Kicking super duper straight. They were absolutely fantastic. Some stage, they kicked about 7 straight, couldn't miss. All right, there are your player stats, team stats. It was Adelaide plus 27 in the overall stats. Inside 50s, 45. Sydney, have a look at this for Adelaide, 70. What a big number that is. 70 inside 50s. That is huge. 54 is their season average. Free kicks were pretty similar. 24-22. Nothing much there. Adelaide, the hit-outs by 5. Adelaide clawed their way back in the clearance, especially the centre clearances, to become 13 all. Contested, similar. Uncontested, 37 to the Crows. Marks, 22. Let's just listen on in on the Adelaide theme. All right, there's a theme song for Adelaide. The boys down there singing it. Tune in rooms. Let's see if this loads up. And there it is. There is the ladder now, folks. That is live. That ladder with Adelaide's win. And tell you what, they picked up some percentage tonight. Adelaide, after playing 12, they go up into 3rd spot on the ladder. 8 wins, 4 losses, 32 points. 2 games off top now, of course, 139.9. They picked up about 9% on tonight's game, which was a big percentage booster. Now got the best percentage of the competition. Absolutely fantastic. And, of course, Sydney Swans down there in 14th. That is yibbity yibbita. That's all for you, folks. I think their season is done and dusted pretty much already, halfway through the season. You can mark my words come the end of the season if they do improve, but I can't see the Sydney Swans getting back from there. They are 3 games out of the top 8 plus big percentage. Wowee. I think that's lights out for them. There is the scores. Let me just trundle on over. Let me have a little bit of a look if I can check out who these teams are playing next week for everybody. There we go. Sydney and Adelaide, of course. Sydney next week, they come across to the MCG. They're going to take on Richmond next Saturday, 1:20 p.m. MCG. Richmond nearly took out the Giants, so tell you what, that's a game I think I might tip Richmond in. They're playing Sydney, and of course Adelaide come up against the might of the Brisbane Lions. That is going to be an absolute fantastic game. Next Friday night football at Adelaide Oval. Adelaide Crows taking on the Brisbane Lions. But there we go. We had the poll in there tonight, and I think the poll's gone. And there we go. It actually had 89% going for the Crows. Well done, everyone who tipped the Crows tonight. But that's all I've got for this one. Thanks, Adrian Sports Channel, Xiaomi Mi, Chia. Thanks for coming in. Of course, Game Board. Big shout out to Gameboard out there. If you're still watching Gameboard, Tine, big shout out there. All right, folks. For the games, let me just double check. Games tomorrow. We've got 2 more games tomorrow to round out round 12. And, of course, that kicks off at 3:20 p.m. Melbourne time. Melbourne taking on St Kilda. They're going up to Darwin to play that game. So that's going to be a hot game up there, getting out of the cold weather of Melbourne. So Melbourne versus St Kilda up in Darwin. That's going to be a cracking game. And, of course, to round out round 12, 7:20 p.m. Melbourne time, West Coast Eagles taking on Geelong over there at Optus Stadium in Perth. So that'll be a fascinating game also. But this game tonight, well, it was one-sided all the way from the start, folks. As you can see, this worm here, it tells the story. Goal after goal after goal after goal went to Adelaide. Sydney put on 4 goals there, but then Adelaide just retook control of this game and said, thank you, mother, for the rabbits. That's all, folks. And Adelaide ran away with this. I think that was their biggest ever winning margin against Sydney, equalising it at 90 points. Tell you what, I don't know what Sydney's going to do. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond to this. Just looking back to last week, Sydney copped a 53-point spanking last week and now a 90-point beating. So, yeah, Sydney, well, I don't know. They got Richmond next week. They're going to have to turn the tide and do something there. All right, folks, that's all I've got for this one. As I said, thanks everyone for coming in. Tina, if you're watching, shouty. Big win. And, of course, everyone, thanks all for coming in. All right, folks, that's all I got for you this time around. We'll catch you tomorrow. The next game should be a pretty good game. The next one coming up, Melbourne versus St Kilda from Alice Springs. All right, folks, till next time, ciao for now. We'll see you at that next game.